Hello! Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while, but my schedule's been crazy. Today I will try to do this in one sitting, but the hours on the Steam page say 4 to 6 hours, so I don't know if I can do that. But we have the 7 districts of sin, the tail makes the fox. And it says that this is episode 1, so it's probably going to be a bit of a cliffhanger. But that is fine, because, well, there's nothing we can do about that, and we'll just have to wait for the next episode. I don't know when this was released, but it looks interesting. So let's just get started. Years have passed, but still, none have forgotten the 100-Year War, the tragedy that came very close to overthrowing the supreme overlord of hell, Lucifer. Wayward demons who had received nothing but abuse, deceived the ultimate deceiver, and waged war on the devil. Lucifer squashed that first attack swiftly. It would have been the end of the war had not one significant event occurred. The traitorous demons joined sides with the humans, lending the mortals their unholy powers. The battle escalated into a fierce and bloody struggle, causing death to plague both earth and hell for decades upon decades. Those acts of insubordination dealt a huge blow to the Lord of Hell's patience and pride. It was simply not enough for them to snuff out the war. Many had to fall along with it. Disregarding all loyalties, both enemy and ally alike were torn down by the devil's own hand. With the end of the 100-Year War, the structures of hell were broken and in need of reform. And so, Lord Lucifer split the underworld into 7 districts, each with its own distinct culture. The first district, Kessel of Gluttony, the second district, Fuzhong of Lust, the third district, Murcielago of greed. The fourth district, Phantasma of pride. The fifth district, Grafstein of sloth. The seventh district, Kumino Ido of wrath. And finally, the seventh district, Uyir of envy. Order and as much peace as one could expect in hell was restored by that act. Each district was allowed to live independently from the rest, but was asked to deal with their own problems. And, controlled by their own individual governors, they were each tasked with harvesting a particular sin. This new way of life divided the demons, allowing Overlord Lucifer to establish stronger control over them, ensuring that they would never again be betrayed. At least that was the idea. Recently, there has been unrest within the districts. One in particular has been causing more trouble than they're worth, and the devil is starting to get tired of hearing about it. Lucy, as the Overlord, is more casually known, squints at the sniveling governor standing before them. Okay, that's really loud. I'm gonna turn that down, or else I'll lose my eardrums. Whatever the man is saying is irrelevant. Right now, Lucy isn't focused on his complaints. Instead, they are entertaining themselves by creating the illusion of placing him just between their forefinger and thumb. With one forceful pinch, they pretended to crush him. They can already hear the governor's bones snapping and his blood sloshing from his skin like a bursting pimple. The man stops speaking as Lucy's face brightens with an enlightening realization. What the governor says is irrelevant and isn't implicating the devil's mood or thought process at all. Lucy suddenly realizes with the greatest delight that their devilishness doesn't have to be imaginary. They can do exactly that, and so easily, in reality, without consequence. I'm going to turn down the voice a little bit more. Oh my god, I knew that this was voice acted, but I didn't realize that the entire thing was voice acted. It kind of eliminates my job, doesn't it? Oh well. Their strangely melodic laughter fills the throne room. The hallway and every room from the east to the west wing. Cracks quickly run through the walls. Wooden doors splinter, and the windows all rock violently in their frames. It should be noted that the cost incurring every year in collateral damage just from the Overlord's moon should never be mentioned or thought of. This year alone, 80 people in the finance department have been executed for mentioning it. Lucifer continues to snicker, the demonic laughter dying to just a slither of a smile. The Supreme Overlord shakes their heads slowly, a warning glint shimmering in their regal eyes. It seems playful at first, but slowly begins to bore holes into the demon's skull. The governor gulps loudly, afraid to open his mouth and utter the wrong thing again. But the tap of Lucifer's fingers against the arm of the throne presents a countdown of the seconds of patience they have left. That was gonna happen anyways, though. Let's be honest. Lucy's foot slams down, causing a quake to ripple through the entire building. The Human Resource Department below is showered in rubble, but they continue to work through the natural disaster that is their overlord. A long finger points toward the governor. Anger burns bright in Lucy's eyes, igniting a flickering fire in palm of their hand. Sorry, I'm thinking, because, I'll let the voices go on for a little bit longer, but it's a bit interesting because the voice seems a bit more masculine than the art looks. But it hasn't bothered me yet, but it might start making things a bit confusing. So I'll turn it off eventually, but I'm gonna let it play for a little bit longer. The Lord of Hell's voice cracks with demented joy as the fire grows and engulfs their whole hand. Oh, right. Let's hide that, just for anybody who wants that, because that's adorable. Also, now you use the right identification. Okay. The flame of the Overlord's anger extinguishes as suddenly as it had appeared. Sitting back down on the throne, Lucy's voice becomes insipidly sweet. Lucy vaguely remembers that whatever the governor is complaining about is boring and troublesome. They really don't want to listen to the man repeat himself. However, not knowing is also very irritating to the overlord, and by asking, they'll be irritated but not ignorant. Dang, you came to the overlord over a practically? You're just asking to die. I'm just saying. Lucy now remembers why they had gotten bored and started to imagine the governor as a bug. For real. You have better control than that. I believe in you. Once more, bored of the governor, Lucy's mind begins to wander. Then, finally, something the man says gets through to the ruler's idle mind. A little matter like that, aren't you guys supposed to solve your own problems? Isn't that like the rule? Sounded like a demand to me, Lucy. The governor babbles, caught between apologizing and continuing his whiny rants about the 6th district. I'm telling you, this man just really wants to die. Lucy screams, and a ring of fire surrounds the governor. It's about time! The man is swallowed by the flames, leaving a charred pentagram on the ground and a pile of ash in its wake. Lucy scowls against the throne, or slouches, my bad. Lucy slouches against the throne, pinching the space between her brows. From behind the curtains, a twin-tailed fox emerges with her body already bowed before her lord. Ooh, yay, okay. I usually do a Chris because it's generally it's more gender neutral than most names I can think of. Initial for that is K. Though it isn't right to accept someone like Lucifer to remember someone as insignificant as Chris, the fox has dedicated herself to the ruler. Is it honestly too much to expect Lucifer to remember her name? I am Chris, loyal subject of hell, and ward of the state. To you I'm devoted, and only to you do I bow. After having gone through the trouble of introducing herself, the girl is simply back to Fox again. Any normal person would know when to quit, but Chris's nope is a pro-psychophant and knows no shame. My supreme ruler, you who shroud this lower region in your constant disapproval and wrath, are most illustrious keeper of what is wrong with all the cosmos. A leader like no... Yes, supreme ruler of the netherworld, Lucifer. Chris yips to a stand, and the fur on her tails bristle under the sudden blaze of Lucifer's gaze. He came to seek your guidance on the continued issue of the 6th district. I believe its governess has been suspected of... god, you guys have Lego in this world? I love Lego. That's awesome. You shouldn't have to concern yourself with them, my lord. You are far above their lowly minds. Nailed it. Lucy groans loudly, and the vibrations of their lordly voice knocking vases off their perches. I think I understand, and I'm only too happy to... Excuse me? Me? Of course not her. Lucy doesn't have any workers that aren't simply disposable tools, but they do have ones that they can't seem to easily get rid of. Unfortunately, Chris is number one on that list. Chris. Delight runs through the girl, and her tails flip around with anticipation as she hangs onto every word with the kind of dog-like devotion your parents or guardians warn you about. Sadly, Chris would jump off a cliff if Lucy told her to. All she needs is a nice high cliff and for the Overlord to say jump for her to prove it. The most evil one said my name. Yes, oh yes. Say it again, please. Her tail flicks back and forth joyfully. She rocks on her feet, waiting for Lucy to say her name again. Chris waits as the task is explained to her, but all she wants to hear is her name, so not a single word actually gets through to her. My lord said my name again. Oh no, she stopped saying my name. That's so sad. No, not Fox again. I was so close. Yes, my humblest apologies. As you command, is what she said, but inside, Chris is crying at the thought of leaving. As you command. Lucy waves their devilish hand and sends Chris away with the teleportation incantation. And so begins the story of Hell's government's most trusted worker, employee number 5537808, Chris, the Great Two-Tailed Gumiho. Man, I love Lego. Lucifer, age, ? Occupation, Lord of Hell. As the Lord of Hell, Lucy is No! I can't read that fast. That's not fair. Wait. Hold on. I got it. Constantly busy with tending to the needs to put itself back, obsessed with power, they'd probably be retiring right about now. Why is it not going away? That's fantastic. I don't know what I did, but I'm happy about it. In life, oh, you know what? Since that was that, I am going to turn off the voices. Haha, the music is gone for good, but I don't want it to be gone for good. Just a little bit, in case there are some silent parts. In life, some are born into positions that completely contradict their character. These poor souls spend their lives fighting their way through all the expectations and challenges such a birth will certainly bring them. Gaki is not one of those poor, pitiful souls. If you ask him, Gaki will insist he was born in exactly the right place at the right time. As the last child of a prosperous family, bad times never touched him. Not even the Great 100-Year War could tarnish a young man's bright future. It's just his luck. So when a black vortex appeared in his path, Gaki didn't expect that for once. He's in the completely wrong place at the worst of times. The great winds of the vortex sweep him up and throw him into the courtyard of the 6th district of Hell's Kimonoi. How did that governor say it? Kiminoto Palace. I think he said it like that. It's a beautiful place, but oh, that's a lot louder than I expected it to be. There we go. I'm sorry about that. It's a beautiful place, but it always has the suggestive smell of corruption, like perfume being spilled in a sweaty sauna. But this shouldn't stop one from appreciating the beauty of Kiminoto's curiously westernized agriculture and well-kept gardens. Sorry, I need water. After all, it's only a metaphorical smell, so the actual air around this palace is has a crisp freshness and perfume-like allure to it. The literal smell, of course, is all that Chris takes in as she soaks in her first impressions of the palace. Any metaphorical smells or disturbing gut feelings failed to deter our spunky auditor. All right, let's get started. Although they very well should. I won't have long to prove to my most why with the words vivaciously by vivaciously evil one that I can do this. We're going to ignore that word. I just can't think about all the things that could go wrong. But that's exactly what the girl starts to think about as she looks up at the grand building towering before her. What happened to that Gaki guy? I can't think. If she does think, she'll realize that she's completely out of her depth. The problem in Kimimoto span years, and one twin-tailed fox can't make a lick of a difference. If the fox is lucky, that tiny voice in her head will scream loud enough for her to hear. Chris, don't go inside. Listen to the little voice that's telling you to turn back right now and rethink your life choices. Yes. I won't. I can't. Exactly. Let this stop me. Sigh. Of course I can do this. The most precious one doesn't put their trust into just anyone. This is true. Lucifer is very particular about who they entrust important tasks with. Sadly, however, this assignment was unplanned, and Chris just happened to be there at the same time it arose. Only I can do this. Chris jumps around, punching the air, trying to pump herself up. Sadly, she succeeds. Yeah, I can do this. The girl is very happy to be here, for all the wrong reasons, and Gaki, the young fox that was blown here by the vortex, is all too happy to see her, for reasons. Well, hello, little girl. I didn't notice you were here. Hello. You'll have to... I'm not comfortable with changing my voice, and if I'm gonna go deep, I'd rather have someone with not such a pretty face. The fall hurt Gaki's head, though let's not blame that for what is about to happen. Gaki was probably dropped on his head a number of times before this. This is only a minor injury in comparison, and it's all worth it in the pursuit of a warm bosom to call his temporary home. Aren't you a delicious new treat? Chris, however, completely lost in her own thoughts, fails to notice that she isn't alone. But I'm not just anyone. I'm the chosen one, the great and awesome Chris of... she yips, jumping back suddenly because of the lecturous presence behind her. Gaki leers at her, lurking close enough to run his nose along her shoulder and gain her scent. It's not hard memorizing her particular smell. Now there won't be a place in hell where she can't hide from him. Chris, huh? You don't smell like a demon. Chris shoves him away and holds a hand up, readying an incantation just in case things get messy. Who are you? Finally, getting a good look at the boy, Chris almost lets her hand drop. He's cuter than she expects. Usually, the real creeps have 2 heads and horns, which is decidedly very easy to come by in hell. But this young man, a kitsune, doesn't look very creepy at all. He has a charming smile and blue eyes so deep that you just want to drown in them. Burning his face off would be such a waste. But sacrifices must be made. Tell me now, who are you, and what do you know of my mission? Mission? Yes, my mission. Now tell me, what did you hear? Nothing. As enchanting as your name, I'm sure. Your name, now! The fox boy bows low, raising only his head to look at her, and in this politeness he comes eye-height with her chest. Provision, only shielded by the gentlemanly air of his actions. You may call me Gaki for now, but we can discuss something more intimate later. Later? Are you the governor of this ward? Didn't hear anything about a change of leadership. Chris lowers her hand quickly, afraid that she made some mortal error, but Gaki raises to a stand with a scornful laughter. No, not in this or any other lifetime. I prefer life and love to be simple and pleasurable. I wonder which of these you could contribute to. If you're not the governor, then I have no business talking to you. The man stretches out his arm and blocks her path. Are you absolutely certain I can't help you with your needs? I forgot that I actually have to make decisions. I turned off my mouse. I'm gonna tell it to him straight. My needs are not your concern. I'd like to make them my concern very, very much. Okay then, my biggest, deepest need right now is for a certain little pest to back off and let me do my job. I'll let him know when I see him. Damn it, Gaki. Don't you dare to pretend you don't know what I'm saying, you rabies-ridden pincushion. In the meantime, perhaps there's something... It's you. You're the pest. And right now, you're the only thing standing between me and that door. So, if you want to leave, you can just walk around me. But you clearly don't, so hey. Chris walks around him, wondering why she never thought of that herself. She really gave the fox boy too much credit, thinking he would put up a fight. He isn't even... Stop following me! And who said I was following you? I'm a counselor of this ward, so it's my job to report in here whenever I feel like it. Oh, you're a lot more important than I thought. I need you! You're part of my job now. Chris walks faster, trying to stay as far ahead of him as possible. Gaki walks faster, trying to match her strides. They both walk faster and faster until they start running aimlessly around the courtyard. Chris starts to double back towards the entrance just to prove that Gaki's following her. You are following me! I thought you wanted to play tag. Why would I want to do that? They both run around the courtyard, trying desperately to outrun the other, but only managing to exhaust themselves. Time out! Chris announces, holding her hands to her chest while stopping to catch her breath. So, I really do make you breathless, huh? What's wrong with you? I'm just a hopeless romantic. If you run, I'll always give chase. Then let's call it a truce. I won't run and you won't follow. How about you don't run and I follow? How about you drop dead? We're in hell. Everyone is technically dead already. Fine. Just stay out of my way and don't talk. I'm here on serious business. Gaki zips his mouth shut and throws away the key, which shows just how good his miming skills aren't. Now, since you're a counselor of this ward, where is the main entrance? You've got me all lost, and I must announce myself to the governor. Gaki points to the large door behind Chris. It's pretty hard to miss, so it's a wonder that she didn't see it. Large doors usually lead to pretty important places, and it is a very large door. That entrance? Yes. See, you'd be lost without me, in more ways than one. I thought I said no talking. The girl knows how others often see her, and sadly they aren't always completely wrong. But completing this task means she can finally show everyone just how many tails and brain cells she actually has. Determined to waste no more time, Chris walks away in a huff, leaving Gaki behind to muse on one small fact that the girl has failed to hide. Is she blushing? So she likes being humiliated. What an adorable masochist. Gaki's tails wag happily as he follows behind her, walking into the entrance hall of Kuminoto Palace. I always forget how to say that. That's my bad. Pretty! I like the blues and purples. And the purple has a really pretty pattern on it. Oh, the yellow flowers. Oh, that's so pretty. The interior is so gorgeous. It works so well with everything. Okay, sorry. Having grown up within the main Hell government, Chris is used to a certain level of grandeur. Granger. I know how to say that word, I just can't. That's weird. But even she isn't prepared for the ornate interior of Kuminoto Palace. Is this real? The fox girl's pigtails whip around as she looks from one amazing sight to the next. Most of all, she's fascinated by the strange floor. Ooh, it looks like it's marble. Pretty. The floor is made of crystal. Wow, it's so beautiful. You can see your reflection so clearly. I mean, honestly, I'd probably do the same thing. I mean, I did kind of geek out about just the interior, so... Oops. Among other things. Gaki, leave me alone, bro. Why are you even in this room? There are certain perks to having mirrored floors that Chris clearly hasn't realized yet. If she did, she would notice that Gaki's luxurious eyes have stopped examining her and have started examining the floor instead. I'm not reading that, but I will have that. Ugh, fuck it. Fine, I'm here to read, so I will read. I'm getting water, though, for procrastination's sake. The beautifully obvious cream-colored panty-wearing empress of my wettest dreams, as clueless as the day she was born, I am bewitched by her empty-headed wonder. There. You're welcome. Is the rest of this palace like this? I want to see what else is here. And I'd be humbled to show you. Well, first of all, I told you to leave me alone. And second of all, I told you not to talk. Wow, really? Okay, fine. That's fine. I suppose he isn't a massive creep after all. Right. Of course not. Dumb girls are the best. Excuse me, you were both being quite loud, and Oh, Master Gaki, you're back. Again, for the third time today. A pale-skinned vampire stands at the end of the stairs, looking down on the two foxes as if they're children. His paleness gives him a strange regal beauty that captures Chris's fascination more than the crystal floors. Cute fox demons, at least for the moment. You actually know this guy? I thought he was just lying about being a counselor. She doesn't trust me, how cruel. A counselor? Is that the lie he's telling now? Haha! It was true. He's not a counselor. What? Salios? You rat! I'm going to rip your throat out. Gaki bares his teeth, but even under the foxboy's murderous glare, the man holds his expression of indifference. You know, I didn't realize, but that CG of Gaki was really pretty. I like his colors and outfit. I think it looks cool. I have to relook at that CG because that was really cool. You're not a counselor, though. Not while your father is still alive. And even if he does die, you are yet the last son. Damn, Salios. You're gonna cook him alive. Leave him alone. Then I'll kill my family and then you. Please do not threaten my life. I have a mortgage to pay. Salios, you precious baby. You poor thing. Who are you exactly? I'm the governess's secretary. As Master Gaki said, my name is Salios. It's an empty title. No one in this place actually does anything. Well, you don't have a title to do anything, so I'm not taking information from you. Unlike me, I do pretty things like you all the time. That was smooth. Gaki wraps his hand around Chris's waist and guides her away from Salios. Okay, wait a minute. Let's get out of here. I promised to show you the rest of the palace, remember? Your family's manor is just as nice as this place, Master Gaki. Do not put the thought of bringing me to his palace in his head, Salios. So please, take your playthings to your own home and stop bringing them here. You know how the governess feels about uninvited guests. Wait a minute, you think... Okay, I'm gonna let this play out. She'll be delighted. Now stop butting in. Leave me alone. I cannot allow this, Master Gaki, you know that. The only thing I know is that you're this close to becoming the gunk I pick out of my teeth, Salios. It may be so, but I am sorry, Master Gaki. I must ask that you stop with your games now. Ignoring Gaki's threats, Salios turned to fully address Chris. I apologize that Master Gaki has led you astray, miss. However, we do not allow just anyone to roam the palace. I must ask you to leave. I'm not with him, and I'm not just anyone. I'm the great Gumiho of the main Hell government, Chris, and I've been personally sent here by the most evil one. For a moment, no one says anything. In the entrance hall fills with the resounding echoes of Chris's grand announcement. Salios looks at the supposed Gumiho's twin-tails and furrowing brows, believing that he either misheard her or miscounted the tails. Gaki, on the other hand, Gumiho? Gaki's side-spitting laughter breaks the silence, and his whole distinguished gentleman act shatters like cracked glass. I knew it was only a matter of time. The girl's twin tails twitch, and her foot slams hard on the crystal floor. Ooh, you'll break it. No. I should get like 2 water bottles when I do this, so that when I finish one, I can have another one. That's planning ahead. There's nothing funny about it. Gaki isn't the first to laugh at her, and he wouldn't be the last, and no matter what everyone else and logic says, Kris knows she is a Gumiho. Therefore, she deserves the respect of everyone. A Gumiho is, after all, the highest form of fox demon there is. No lesser demon could be the oh, geez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 100,000 million? So 55th million, 3,007, 55th million, 378,000th, 8th. Most trusted employee of the Dark One. So that's who you are. We were told of your arrival, but the paper specifically said that it was a kitsune from the audit department who was coming. It didn't mention a full name, just that it began with K. My lord forgot my name again. So you're the kitsune, correct? Deny. I am not a kitsune. But if I say no, they might not let me in. I'm denying. No. I'm no mere kitsune. You have 2 tails. 2! I have more tails than you. Shut up, Gaki. This is not about you. So what? Gumiho have 9 tails, correct? You seem to be missing 7 of your tails, miss. Shut up. They were chopped off. Now you either... That sounds awful. Yes, it was very painful. Now, show me the stumps. You must still have the stumps, right? Gaki! Why is everyone obsessing over this? I will not! Show them! Please, keep your voice down, Master Gaki. Show them! Oh my god, Gaki, shut up. No! Of course you do not have to. I apologize for the confusion. You are from the audit department, though, correct? You're undercover, remember? Don't blow it. Yes, sorry, that's correct. With everything cleared, Celius bows to Kris with a well-mannered smile. I will let the governess know of your arrival. Wait, I'll go... And he's gone. The pale man walks off before the girl can stop him. A door slams in the direction, and she's left once again with Gaki. That's unfortunate. Oh, great, he left me with this pervert. Oh, great, Celius finally left us alone. Kris looks at him. Why is this creep staring at me? Gaki looks back at her. Finally, she's starting to fall in love with me. Just a few more seconds of gazing longingly into each other's eyes, and Kris raises her hand and stomps away to the opposite side of the entrance hall. Oh no, our love gaze was broken. It's all your fault, Celius. The 2 foxes stand in absolute silence. Kris does everything she can to ignore Gaki's presence, and Gaki doing everything he can to make himself known. So, Gumiho, huh? The girl resolves that she should ignore him, just as one should ignore an irritating child. That was a good joke. I haven't laughed like that in ages. It isn't a joke. I am a... Sadly, they both act like children, so Kris's resolve doesn't last very long. Luckily enough for everyone, there are many things about Gaki that doesn't last very long too, such as his ability to concentrate on more than one thing at the same time. Want to hear another one? Another one what? A joke. Oh. Not even I understood that, Gaki. You gotta be more clear about these things. I was very confused. No. I tried to eat a clock once, but I got really anxious about the time. Shut up, Gaki. Now's not the time for jokes. And your jokes shouldn't be funny, okay? I haven't heard that one before. Oh, that's good. That's good. Because it was too Time-consuming, I know. Wait, that wasn't the joke. Oh, I didn't know that there was a punchline. That's so fantastic. I can't believe I laughed at the original. Aw, now I feel bad. Damn it. No, because it was 2 o'clock. What? 2 o'clocks? I can't say that right, and I don't understand it. Chris bites down on her bottom lip, inhaling deeply as she tries to keep her composure. It's a good one, isn't it? It is cocky, I will admit it. Chris doesn't have to, but I will. A small sound escapes the girl's mouth as she turns her back to Gaki. No. That was the worst joke ever. That was the worst joke I've ever heard, but I can't stop. She covers her mouth with her hand. Hey, you're laughing, aren't you? No. You are. The kitsune's whole face lights up suddenly, and the girl abruptly stops laughing. He's kinda cute like this. Even though Gaki's done nothing but get under her skin, there's something in his joyful smile that makes her hate him a little less, but just a little. Want to hear another one? I got a ton. However, Gaki's enduring expressions are the only thing that never lasts long. Sometimes, like all of us, through no fault of his own. He's wearing, like, pants. It looks like pants. I think pants. He's wearing one of those one-piece suits. Like a jumper, I think it's called. I can't remember. What are you doing here, boy? Chris looks up and stares at the stern-faced beauty who's standing atop of the stairs. Is it atop or top? It was a top. Okay, I thought I just put an A in there. No matter how much the woman's brows knit or her mouth twists, Chris can still feel her stomach flip with the empty feeling of awe-inspired inferiority. That's always such a hard word for me to say. Oh my god! She's adorable! Oh my god, she's so pretty, too. Oh my god, she's so adorable. Oh. A white-haired girl follows one step behind the women as she descends the steps, walking towards the two guests. The other girl stands directly behind her, with her head lowered as she almost drowns in the streams of the women in front's black hair. Oh, hey, Celios. Welcome back. Celios appears at the top of the stairs and runs ahead of them. He stops at the bottom of the steps and announces the Grand Woman, as if her importance isn't already clear to everyone. The 8th Governess of the 6th District, the Lady Kuminoto Palace, Anzu raises her hand, and Celios becomes quiet. She turns to look behind her and stares down at the small girl who's clutching onto her dress sleeve. Out of my shadow, pet. We have a first impression to make. The girl says something so low and quiet that no one but the governess can hear her. I won't repeat myself. I don't know where this accent is coming from or what it is, but I guess we both have to deal with it now. Slowly, the girl walks up from her hiding place and proceeds down the stairs, standing beside Celios. Oh, that'd be an adorable sight. When Chris looks at her, the maiden's scowl deepens. The supposed Gimiho looks away, turning to Anzu, but the feeling of the white-haired girl's gaze only burns hotter on her neck. Why are you here? She's the employee from the— Not you, her! Answer me! Why are you here? My taxes are not due for another millennia. Yes, but By then you'll have laundered countless thousands of souls and made your getaway. I'm on to you. In truth, the auditor doesn't know anything about the problem in Kiminoto, besides the fact that they all fall under the blanket term of soul laundering. Chris isn't on to her, much like the governor of the 3rd district isn't on to her. Very few people who've had the pleasure of being on to Anzu are still alive. But let's not ruin that surprise for the naive girl. This is just standard procedure, I assure you. Sending someone standard to do something standard, that does sound like Lucy. Lucy? Lucy? How dare she defile the name of the most Is that a B or a D? B? Abhorrent one. I think it's a B. I'm pretty sure it's a B. You should show your proper respects to our overlord. Oof. Oof. You should... Listen, someone of higher status can say whatever they want, okay? Okay, let's see how this plays out. Let's see if you keep your head. When respect is shown, respect is given in kind. Lucy shows none this by now. Lucy should know this by now. This foul-mouthed whore. If she says my lord's... Ah! No! I hit the button on accident. That's my fault. If she says up my lord's name like that one more time, I'm going to... Tells Chris... Whoa. Chris's tails begin to bristle, and the sternness of Anzu's face softens to amusement. Both of the women open their mouths to say something that would certainly displease the other. But before they can finish, Gaki steps forward, placing himself between them. My God, the only good thing he's done yet. Hey there, mistress. Long time no see. The governess's face hardens again as she turns away from the two foxes. My friend and I were just Salios. Yes, governess? Anzu, I thought we were... Gaki steps back. Nope. Gaki steps towards the governess, but is instantly repelled by shock static. Damn. Deserved. The white-haired girl looks to Gaki with a cool expression, smoke still rising from her fingertips. She says nothing before dropping her gaze back to the ground. Our room is ready for our standard guest, correct? And look, if this is about that time I might have gotten into your potted plants, there's a very good Yes, my governess. It was prepared moments ago. It was a little short notice, but I'm sure that everything is up to standard. Anzu's eyes gleam as she acknowledges her standard guest once more. There's no way that this woman is going to make Chris's job any easier. It's already so difficult. That fact should be worrying. However, the supposed Gamiho has gleefully accepted the challenge. In the name of Overlord Lucifer. I was going to say regulations, but yes, I suppose that works too. Thank you, Salios. My guy on the inside. Thank you. Excellent. It's hard for Chris to uphold Anzu's glare, because she isn't the subject of just one death stare, but two. And that doesn't include Gaki's staring, which is less deadly and more sickening. So I guess it kind of evens out. So we've got, complete death stare, and we got kind of death stare, and, kind of sickening. So it, evens out to, don't look at me, please. Stop looking at me, please. Oh, God, please stop looking at me. I don't think everyone's been introduced. Who's this other one? That's Gaki. He's an infantile pest. I know that, and I know him. And you're an infantile pain in the I mean the other one. Celios? Have you forgotten his name already? My, what a standard brain you have. You're doing this on purpose. Perhaps I didn't introduce myself properly, my governess. No, I know you, Celios. The other one. Celios, what is the standard person talking about? Her! Chris jabs her finger in the white girl's direction, but the glaring girl simply harumphs and turns her head away. Aw, she doesn't even get introduced? That's rude. Aw, the poor thing. So rude. It's common courtesy to introduce everyone, isn't it? But I thought we were doing things as standard, not common, though you are probably both. How dare you? I am a gamijo. The fox girl's cheeks burn a crimson red. All her patience to stay calm boils over, and she steps forward, ready to explode. Before she can, however, another voice speaks up in her place. Common? There's nothing common about her. I can't tell if you're being nice or if you're trying to start something, Gaki. Gaki should absolutely stop right there and zip his mouth. If he does, his object of affection will be powerless to his charm, and her impression of him won't be damaged by the dreadful words floating around in his tarnished mind. Her measurements exceed all expectations for someone so plain-looking, not to mention that she has a filthy taste in underwear. Excuse me? Ow! Why do I have to read this again? Gaki, why? Her cream panties cannot fool you. I know they simply mask the warm gushes of her feminine arousal. Gaki grabs hold of Chris's hand and drops to one knee, bowing his head towards her. I will kick you out the window and pay for the damages. Dearest Chris, I accept you, because you know what they say. You can always tell a woman's libido by her sock drawer, and I have no doubt in my mind that your sock drawer is full of weak-old sweaty athletes foot-ridden, cum-stained socks. Gaki, God damn it. I'm glad my perception of you has been ruined for all eternity. A gaggle of horror-stricken faces stare at Gaki, silence prevailing a moment longer than he expected. How is this supposed to help the situation? In truth, what he expected was for his object of affection to be so moved by his words that she would strip down bare, and the blonde's shoe smashes the fox boy's face, kicking him across the palace hall and onto the steps, resting at Anzu's feet. Good job. I approve. I thought I had her with that one. Ouch. The governesses walks down the last few steps, treading on Gaki's tails as she heads towards the silent girl. A slender finger lifts strands of the girl's hair towards Anzu's face before letting them drop. The girl blushes and bows her head, avoiding eye contact with the governesses. Governess! Oh, you meant this one. Yes, for my report, I must know the names of everyone I'll be working with. So, what's her name? Is that a standard question? Please, for the love of the damned one, not this again. Introduce my pet to you? That sounds rather silly. Anzu rests her hand on the smaller girl's head, forcing her to look up back at her and revealing the deep blush of her alabaster cheeks. The two stand before the others, only staring at each other, as if they are the only two that exist in the world. Chris's cheek starts to feel heavy from watching them, and when Anzu's gaze rolls toward her, she realizes why. It isn't love in the governess's eyes. It's pure, unadulterated. The young girl is Kali. She's the governess's personal assistant. Well, thank you, Salios. Yeah, very personal assistant. Gaki, I will kick you through a window. Anzu lifts her foot and crushes the kitsune's tail beneath her shoe once more, her face lighting up with the first genuine smile Chris has seen. You know, you're rude, but I approve. It's breathtaking. It's hard to hate such a beautiful smile, no matter what brought it about. Even if I knew what brought it about, I would still be happy. It's only standard to have someone around who will always put me first no matter what. Don't you agree, Kali, darling? Yes, my governess. Oh, she's so precious. Kali trips over her own words, her heated gaze finally breaking away from Anzu. The girl catches Chris staring at her, and her blush turns fiery with hatred. My governess has nothing to hide. Your search here will be fruitless. Bro, I'm just a auditor. I'm not searching anything. Let me decide that for myself. As you wish. Come with me. We shall see that you have what you need to start your standard procedure. Bro, stop with the standard, man. I'm so close to snapping. Like, I'm not usually one to be picky with words like that, but like, the fact that you're specifically putting standard in places that it doesn't have to be, that's annoying. And plus the reason is to annoy me. The governess walks back up the stairs with her pet close behind her and Gaki on their heels. Really, bro? My god. How do you, I would say he can't take a hint, but, nobody's given him any hints. They've been very direct with him. Anzu stops and turns to the boy, the procession behind her coming to a staggering halt. Salios, dispose of this foot stain. You know how I feel about commoners loitering in my halls. Commoners? Yes, you are a commoner. Return once your father has croaked, and then I will considering you more than worthless. Until then, out. The woman waves her hand in Gaki's direction, and a dark force materializes as a gust of magenta air knocks the fox backwards, flying him straight into the arms of Salios. Oh, how sweet. They're so cute. The vampire tries to help the boy to his feet, but the moment the kitsune has his wits about him again, he lashes out, pinning Salios to the ground. Oh wait, no. Hurry up, girl. We haven't got all day, but I wanna see what happens. Chris follows the other two women up the stairs and through the door. Just as it shuts, the fox girl hears a high-pitched yelp. The sight of blood spilling onto the crystal floor is the last she sees of the arguing men. For now. Damn. Salios. What the hell? Oh, this room isn't as pretty as the entrance hall, which makes me sad. Can I have a different room? One with more colors? Oh my god, the thing up here. It's a squid. Or an octopus. It has tentacles. That's so cool. Okay. Like most things in Kiminoto Palace, the office is rarely used for its intended purposes. The books are so colorful. I'm sorry, I'm being distracted. Getting distracted? Same thing. How many curtains does that curtain have? It looks like 3, 4, technically, because it has one on this side, and then these two are probably connected, so then it's this one's, and then it's this one, so then it's like 4. I'm sorry. I'll focus. The only things that look like they may be used for business are a few massive bookshelves lining the walls, but even they are occupied with frivolous trinkets and dolls. Oh, that seems a lot more interesting to see than what I have. Oh my god, the ceiling is green! Ah, damn it! How Anzu acquired these trinkets is shrouded in as much mystery as the woman herself is. However, it's important to note that the biggest trinket the governess owns is her personal assistant, Kali. Therefore, it shouldn't be shocking that the strangest thing about the room are the photos, some more decent than others, that capture Kali's delicate beauty. The subject herself sees nothing wrong with said pictures. In fact, they make her swell with pride when she notices Chris's attention gravitates to some of the less decent ones. What the governess and her assistant actually do in this room is hard to tell with just a cursory investigation. Like everything else in Kiminoto Palace, Kali and the other trinkets can be used in more ways than one. Interesting. That fox gives me such a headache. I agree. Anzu drapes herself over the love seat by the window. She sighs and swoons, showing her relief to finally be out of that fox's undesirable company. I as well. Kali stands by the arm of the chair, close enough that if the governess wishes, she can run her fingers through the waterfall of Kali's silvery locks again. Anzu doesn't wish to, but just in case, if there's the smallest chance that it will happen, Kali wants to be ready. Am I cursed, or is it just the universe simply testing my patience? I believe you withstood the torture well, my lady. All that whining. Anzu unironically whines loudly, rolling her eyes far back into her skull. Hell only knows how long it'll be until that fox disappears for good. Chris stands by the door and nods with agreeance. Is that how you spell that word? That's weird. I don't like that spelling. I kind of agree with them. I can't imagine having to put up with Gaki all the time, no matter how cute his face is. And all that leering is so creepy. Not to mention how cute his face is. No matter how cute his face is. Damn it! Read! And the things he says, no matter how cute his face is, it's just unforgivable. Gaki does have a cute face. A really cute face. Still, he's a nuisance that shouldn't be swallowed, not born. Still, he's a nuisance that should be swallowed, not born. It's ruined the mood of the whole day. I wouldn't go quite that far. Oh, wait. Who said that? Oh, Kali. It's ruined the mood for the whole day. I wouldn't go that far. She is just an insignificant fox, after all. Rude. I know you were talking about Gaki, but the fact that you changed it to me is rude. Wait, At least it's over now. We can put it all behind us and enjoy ourselves again. Kali, you guys are talking like I'm not here. If only that were true. Anzu and Kali look over their shoulder at Chris, staring at her as if they expected her to disappear in a cloud of smoke. You told me to follow you. It's still here, though. Chris's ears twitch with annoyance. It's her own fault for not taking the governess at face value. The woman's personality should have been obvious by now, though figuring out the obvious isn't exactly the girl's strong suit. I can hear you two. You do know that, right? I think it hurt us. Is that possible? I thought for certain all that whining she did must have impaired her hearing. I didn't do any whining. When did I whine? Oh, I guess I whined a lot because, she kept saying, oops, I didn't mean to hit my mic. Whatever. Shut up, I didn't mind that much. My hearing far surpasses every other demon's. How dare they insult me? Tell 'em. Yes. The two women continued to stage whisper in front of her. She's staring at us. May I throw her out? When she's gone, all can be perfect again. Stop stalling and give me a key card already so I can begin my work. I think she's mad at me now. How cute. Anzu's mouth quips up in a smile. Remember who you are, Fox. Why does nobody call me my name? Except for that creep. It's not fair. And then remember who I am. Chris's tail stretched out behind her in pent-up rage, but Anzu is far more delicate than delighted far more delicate. Why do I keep doing this? Delighted than insulted by the girl's demands. At least, for now she is. Callie, get the Fox her key card. All access with the standard limitations, of course. And quickly, the longer she's here, the more common everything becomes. Of course. Callie passes the octopus. Haha, it is an octopus! I didn't say octopus, did I? I said squid. I meant octopus. Callie passes under the octopus chandelier and sits at the large, pearly surfaced desk. Dang it. An obedient silence surrounds her as she works. Limitations for what? Or to what? I'll need complete access to the palace. Why? Anzu plays with a lock of her own raven hair, twisting it between her fingers. Are you almost done, Callie? I think the fox is trying to speak to me. Almost done, my governess. What are those limitations you mentioned? Anzu sighs heavily, finally turning her head to stare directly at Chris. I don't want to turn on voices, man. The answer to that question is one of the limitations. Well, you just answered, you've created a paradox. Limitations? Yeah, right. What's so special about this place that the succubus has put restrictions? There is definitely something incriminating here, and I have a feeling that it's hidden exactly where I'm not allowed to go. Well, obviously. Did you figure that out on your own, bro? Congrats. Damn, I'm good. I should have gone into espionage sooner. Oh, God. Any other questions? Will you answer them? Probably not. Then no. Callie presents the keycard to Anzu on a small silver tray. A little excessive, if you ask Chris, but what in this place isn't in excess. The keycard, my governess. Callie faces Chris for the first time since coming to the office, but it's Anzu who speaks up. This keycard will permit you access to the necessary documents for your task. If it's used in any of the restricted areas, I'll be notified and the keycard will immediately be confiscated. And those restricted areas are places only perverts and troublemakers would be interested in. Could you be more specific? I thought it was a very specific description. Specific is not a word that the governess enjoys almost as much as she doesn't enjoy words like common, objective, and her own last name, in fact. Well, for example, any bedroom that is not yours and this office. Anywhere else? Nowhere that you should naturally find yourself unless a grave ending is what you seek. Yeah, I'll ignore it. I don't really care that much. Ignore herself. She's just trying to get a rise out of you. It's just like her kind, those manipulative soul suckers. I understand. Is that all I get? Anzu sighs heavily. Suddenly the fox isn't as fun to her anymore. Ha! I knew it. She's so transparent. I feel like if she was transparent, we wouldn't be in this situation. Wait, huh? Out of the corner of her eye, Chris notices Callie staring at her. This time she isn't glaring, but is instead nervously fiddling with the hem of her skirt. Why won't she hurry up and leave? I have one more question. Of course you do. What is it? Not for you, governess. For her. Callie suddenly lifts her head towards Chris, unable to hide the look of shock. Callie? She doesn't talk to strangers. Or more like she's not allowed to. Mostly it's because she's shy. And the other part? She probably hates you, but go ahead, ask her your question. It'll be good for her. Chris turns to Callie, not 100% convinced the girl will answer her. She has done nothing but glare at the Gumiho the entire time. After all, what else could she expect? Is this your office? No, but I often work here. Why are you in most of the pictures then? The girl stares at Chris before quickly turning away. Why is she asking questions like that? What was that? I said that out loud. Callie freezes, her mind overflowing with excuse, insults, and self-deprecating comments. Nothing but pained whimpers and mumbles are said, however. Anzu touches the back of the silver-haired girl's thigh. Finally, the girl breaks out of her trance and looks down at the governess with a pitiful look of gratitude. I enjoy being surrounded by beauty. Callie is the most exquisite thing I own. My lady is the coolest demon ever. I'm going to die. No, overlording. Anzu's cool fingers stroke the girl's skin as she lifts her hand away. I think my heart just stopped. Callie sways as her whole face overheats into a feverish temperature. I'm a little shocked you'd add something so personal. I thought you were all business, Fox. I was just curious and a little disturbed. What Gaki said about their relationship being too personal seems right on the money. Then again, none of this is my concern. But I want to make this crystal clear. I'm only here to do my job, so in the future I'd appreciate a little more cooperation. Are you implying that I haven't been cooperating? Callie, have I done something wrong? No, never, my governess. You failed to make yourself clear, Fox. Now you're simply wasting my time. This whole place is a waste of my time. You have your key card, so you can start your work, and the sooner you start, the sooner you'll leave. Fine, if you show me where you keep your records, then I don't know where they are. Then how am I? Celios does, though. Come along. Finally, we're getting somewhere. Bro, but where's my room at? Do I have to, rent out a room somewhere in town, or am I, living here? I could have sworn she said something about having a room here. Pretty entrance hall. When they arrive at the entrance, Chris is shocked to see that Gaki is still here, and having lived up to his threat, is picking the chunks of Celios' flesh from his teeth. Damn. That sucks, bro. Celios, you good, man? And Gaki, get out of here. Nobody wants you here. All evidence that a struggle has taken place is being cleaned up by the pale bite victim. Oh, poor thing. The closer the girl gets, the more bite marks she sees on the both of them. It's evident that the vampire has a lot more bite in him than she first thought. I'm surprised. I'm also very proud. I see that you failed to control the pest. I tried, governess, but there's only so much harm I can do without fearing that Master Gaki will press charges. Damn. I like you expect any less. And, oh god, like you expected any less, Anne. I'm both a fighter and a lover, you know that. Anzu peers at the fox boy. A disgusted look turns her pretty mouth into something equally beautiful, but more menacing than before. How about congratulations for your champion? Raven-haired woman turns back to Celios without comment. Celios, prepare this thing. Perhaps this thing would be more in your weight class. Excuse you? I prefer not fighting at all. He looks up to Chris and then back to the governess, nodding with understanding and regret for his previous failure. Oh, poor thing. See to it that she's put straight to work and kept busy. I want her gone as soon as possible. Yes, governess. And Fox, remember what we talked about. Which Fox are you talking about? I'm not scared of you, but you should certainly be afraid of me. I'm confused. Was she talking about me? I assume she's talking about me. I'm going to default to me. Chris smirks, bowing her head to the governess before meeting Celios at the bottom of the stairs. The vampire and the professed, my bad, my god, I haven't seen that word written before. The vampire and the self-professed Gamiho cross the entrance hall over to a concealed door that leads to a maintenance hallway. Pretty! So many different rooms. The hall is nothing more than bare wooden walls, with none of the splendor of the rest of the building. How dare you? Do you see how gorgeous that, what's it called? The window thing. Curtain. Do you see how pretty that is in the pattern? And do you see the pattern of the wallpaper? The fact that it has two different wallpapers that complement each other so perfectly, and the floor does it. All the favors. And, the floor and the ceiling are, the same thing, but the floor has, okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm not. Excuse me. I'm done. We're moving on. Much to Chris's relief, it's only her and Celios in the hall. Thank God. Oops, my mouse. Still. Gaki, quite foolishly, decides to follow Anzu and Kali back to the office. The fox boy won't see the inside of the office today, though. Did you hear something, Kali? So I told her that story. You know, the one about my father destroying the fourth pillar. Nothing too mind-blowing. A solid pickup tale. There seems to be an annoying buzzing noise, my governess. Wait, have I told you guys that story before? You know, the one where my family is basically dubbed the heroes of the war. I didn't already tell you that, did I? It feels like it's burrowing its way into my skull. No, wait, I did. Never mind. So, I told her about the pillar, 'cause, you know, nothing like some phallic imagery and some fake-ass daddy issues to get her on. Dispose of it. When I'm done telling her the whole thing, guess what the little slut does? Now! Gladly, my governess. It's beautiful. It's my favorite. The poor thing. Damn, he does have more tails than me. God, fuck. That's so rude. How many tails does he? He has 4. That's not fair. Damn him. Ooh, pretty. When Chris enters the archives, she sighs with relief, grateful there's one place in this insane palace that looks how it's supposed to. Most of all, it's the archives, a place where the auditor can feel at home. She's quite used to spending her days in a pigeon-sized cubicle, so the floor-to-ceiling shelves that threaten to collapse under the weight of all the contents are right up her alley. I apologize for the lack of light and the smell. No one but myself usually works in here. As the girl walks behind the vampire, she realizes that the room's dusty old paper smell is the very same scent that stuck to Celios. Damn. There's also something else in the air, though. Something that's a little bitter to her nose. The more Chris fixates on the smell, the more prominent it becomes, until suddenly, the smell is something her host should apologize for. It smells like vodka and lemons. What? Is that a normal combination? What can I get you? The sooner we start, the sooner I can leave. Anzu was very clear on that. I was gonna say the sooner I can find it for you, but that works too. Damn, everyone completes his sentences incorrectly. I feel bad. Sorry. The Gamiho feels bad, since the vampire isn't Anzu, and he hasn't said a thing to get on her bad side. It's just very hard to stop the governess getting under one's skin, even when she's not actually present. No need, but I'd advise you to be wary of jumping to conclusions here, even if it's in your nature not to listen to my advice. In my nature? What is that supposed to mean? In my nature? What? He thinks all foxes are like Gaki? Is that it? Damn, I don't like how familiar this protag is acting. I don't know how I feel about that. I shouldn't waste my breath. No one ever takes my advice. Maybe I'm just distrustful to everyone by nature. Oh, poor thing. The condescending little shit. I felt sorry for you, but now I hope Gaki really did eat your... Celios stops suddenly, and Chris walks right into him. The vampire turns to look at her with a displeased frown as the shelves around them wobble threateningly. Perhaps you should take a seat. The aisles will be too narrow for the both of us, plus she must be tired. I'm fine. It's not just some nuisance you can cast aside. I politely insist that you take a seat, miss. I've never had to explain the filing system. I'll probably make it sound more complicated than it actually is. I politely decline, so lead the way. If you insist. I really hope you won't. I do. 1 for Chris, 0 for the bloodsucker. This is bad. I really don't want to reorganize these bookshelves. No. As Celios predicted, the halls are too narrow for the both of them. The more Chris tries to help find the records, the more tangled the two of them become. Okay, well, this is a different avenue than I thought would happen. The files for the upper tier collectors are just by your ankle. If you let me past, I can... You mean here? The girl bends down and reaches for the folders, but her butt hits the shelves and everything around them rocks. No. No, that's the lower tier folder. Celios holds his hand out and tries to steady the rocking shelves. What? But I thought... In a panic, Chris pulls her hand away from the folders, and her sleeve catches on the tooth of a dog skull artifact. I explained that already. The colors correspond with the... Please be careful with that skull. The auditor pulls her sleeve away from the skull, the material ripping as she fights with it, all while knocking into the shelves and to Celios' dismay, causing more trouble than he first anticipated. I'll go sit down now. Please stop moving. Chris finally freezes and waits anxiously for the shelves to stop rocking. Slowly, everything stops moving, and she's free to move again. She looks over to see Celios' blanched expression, which, for once, isn't trying to sugarcoat his complete horror. Maybe you should explain this filing system one more time, just for clarity. Celios lets his hand drop away from the shelves. As much as he wants to refuse to explain the whole thing again, he also doesn't want the fox to ruin his system because of her lack of knowledge. Taking a deep breath, he begins the explanation all over again. Our files are organized primarily by their appeal grade. Their grades are how you find the aisles. Then they are categorized by their total contributions to the gross increase of soul influx, also referred to as spirits. And spirits determine the purity level, right? They're only a small aspect of the purity level. Governess Anzu manually grades their purity on a biannual basis. But, we're still in the process of reviewing the purity level of 43% of the ward. So, as you can see, we need to subcategorize depending on the difference between this purity level elevation and the last biannually purity level evaluation. Did you get all that? What sort of house of horrors is this filing system? Of course, couldn't be simpler. It's not a common filing system, I know. Or one that makes a lick of sense, but that seems to be a common theme in the 6th district. What in this place makes any sense? You've already seen how Anzu feels about common things. So she does everything so she can come up with the most impossible solutions to the simplest problems? Sounds completely logical. Chris's strained smile doesn't hide her confusion very well. With the deepest of sighs, Celios renews his early offer and prays to Lucifer that she'll see reason this time. How about you tell me what you need, and I'll get the files for you. It will save time. The girl's stubborn pride completely evaporates into an expression of joyful defeat. There's only so much she can do, after all. I feel the same way. I would definitely go the first time and be like, okay, fine, I'll leave. Yes, that's a great idea. Great. If you'd listened to me when I first suggested it, we would have saved even more time, though. Thank you, and I'm sorry. Don't worry, the filing system, you'll get used to it. Why do I have to get used to it? I don't want to be here for too long. I don't want to be here just as much as she doesn't want me to be here. It takes the vampire no time at all to locate the files and bring them to the small desk that the auditor is occupying. Phew, that was a workout. His mood has changed. Whoa, his mood has changed a lot. Celios smiles from ear to ear, looking proudly at the pile of files, like there's some great lost treasures. Let me know if you need anything else. Sure, and thanks. I'd be happy to explain the filing system again if you... No! The auditor's head is still spinning from the vampire's first 4 attempts to explain it all to her. My filing system really isn't that bad, is it? I mean, I'm pretty sure I got it already. Sure. Chris picks up the first folder and starts to shuffle through it. She quickly gets to work marking down the parts she thinks will be useful and making notes on what she can probably skip. She does this for 5 minutes before realizing that Celios hasn't moved from behind her. Is there not another chair? Is something wrong? I've been asked to help you. And you have helped me. I'm fine now, so Chris slams the folder shut and turns to face Celios dead on. She knows his games, and by the sudden blush on his face, he knows she does. Were you asked to keep an eye on me? No, I apologize. This must look bad. I should have said something earlier. I was just thinking of how to best phrase it, and I guess I've been thinking for a long time, and now I've done something strange. What? I want to know what perfume you're wearing. That is quite strange, yes. I can agree. What? Your smell, it's strong, and I thought it must be because you're wearing some strange perfume. Are you saying I stink? Rich, coming from someone who smells like embalmed corpse. It's true. Vodka and lemons that I feel like I haven't really smelled vodka very well because I haven't been to bars, but like lemon is definitely very close to embalming, and if you add vodka, it'd probably smell like embalming. I don't know. I haven't been to any bars. No, you don't stink. You just smell more human than other demons I've met. I know you can get perfume from some of the markets, but I've never smelled a perfume so accurate before. You smell just like a human. No wonder they stuck him down here in the records room. He's as all over the place as the filing system. Black markets, perfumes, and humans? What's wrong with him? I think you smell nice, like a human to me. Do I smell like food to you, bro? Oh, I get it. This is some vampire pickup line. My Lucifer, why are all the men in this place coming on to me? I don't know. Maybe you're in a dating sim. I mean, I don't know if this is considered a dating sim, but it's a visual novel with romantic interests. So I smell delicious to you. Is that it? Like a cheeseburger or something? What? No, I mean... Chris laughs. She thought that he'd have a bit more game to this. Coming up with a cheesy line like, you smell human, takes real balls after all. Or maybe you're more of a nacho kind of guy. Oh my god, nachos are so good. Oh, I could really use for some nachos. That's good. The fox jokingly jabs Celios on the side of her elbow. She completely misses the look of discomfort showing in the man's pursed lips, as every moment she makes fills the air with her delicious scent. So what do I smell like then? Come on, I want to know. The vampire looks away for a moment, knowing that his thoughts shouldn't be said out loud, but he also knows that she seems to really want to know. A little like a filet mignon with a blackberry and red wine reduction. Damn, that's good. Damn, that's good. Damn, that's really good. I don't even like steak that much. I mean, it's a filet mignon. That's pretty close to steak, but not really steak. Dang! That sounds good. He holds his hand over his mouth, trying to hide the clear look of hunger that suddenly swamps his senses. How come you know so much about food? I used to live in with a human family, and the mother was an excellent cook. She made the best veal pepperonata, and I can still taste it till this day. That's good. Leaves a good impression. A dribble of saliva drops from behind Celios's hand and onto Chris's shoulder. Chris looks up to see a gulp roll through the vampire's throat. Oh, Lucifer, it wasn't a pickup line. The fox suddenly shifts nervously in her seat, not knowing how she's going to talk her way out of this one. A family, huh? So you used to live up there? For over 40, maybe 60 years? I didn't keep count. I grew up around humans. Later in life, I found myself in the company of a widower and her 6 children. They were all terrible kids, so I helped her scare some discipline into them. As you should. Do I dare ask how? No, you do not. They grew up into fine men and women, but they all died in the war, just like their father. Their mother never forgave me. What? That's not your fault. They died in the war. That had to been, like, their decision to go in the war. And plus, she's probably the one who asked for your help, so you are not to blame, in the slightest. Celios becomes silent. He places a hand on Chris's shoulder, gripping it tightly, tighter than he ever even realizes. Looking down at the fox girl's frightened eyes, the vampire sees such a human amount of fear in them. He leans forward, getting a concentrated whiff of the nostalgic scent. Chris shoots up from her chair, tails bristling. Sorry, I guess some things are unforgivable. She doesn't like showing weakness, and she's annoyed by how much Celios's careless words are affecting her. It can't be helped, though. History can never be erased, and some things cannot simply be apologized for and gotten over. I need some more files from the list. The pale man bows his head and leaves the auditor to her work. When he drops off the files, he doesn't say a word to her. Although that doesn't mean stray thoughts don't pop up in his head every time he walks by her, or is caught upwind of her scent. It's so sweet. That's what I thought. Look at him. The more time passes by, the longer he has to unpack all the complex notes of her smell. Damn, sucks. Maybe you should, sit down at the table so you're not as anxious. Wait, is he wearing, 2 things? Oh my god, he is. Well, I'm looking at his hands, because they're double layered. But the fact that the under looks like the over, that's interesting, and it looks really good. That's so cool. Okay, yes. Full-bodied with an intense aroma of forest fruits, almond notes, and the added depth of a caramelized aftertone. Damn, just how good was that cook? Is she dead yet? Can she cook something? As much as he itches to stay close to Chris and intoxicate himself on her scent, he has gone too far and knows it. The vampire tries to make himself scarce until needed. Oh, pretty. The place looks so pretty in the dark. Or at night, I mean. I love nighttime. Night quickly comes, and Chris has, much to Celios's surprise, worked through a good portion of the files. She may be a braggart, but at least some of her inflated ego isn't all talk. Thank you, I appreciate that. Even though the whole audit thing is a ruse, she has to make it look believable, right? So she works well into the night, until she can barely keep her eyes open. Well, if you can barely keep your eyes open, how are you supposed to make it to your room? You should probably head off to bed. They're the first words the man has dared to speak for nearly 4 hours. A sleepy-eyed Chris smiles up at him, but years of being under Anzu has made smiles untrustworthy to him. Sorry. What are you apologizing for? Celios searches her face to look for disgust or horror he still expects. But all discomfort has either been forgotten or worked out of her system. I'm sorry you've had to work so hard. It's not a problem. I'm an expert after all. So this is... Yeah. Chris yawns loudly. The vampire chuckles, quickly realizing that all is fine between them once more. I can't wait until morning, can't it? It can wait till morning, can't it? I don't see you turning in your books yet. I'll work as late as you do. I don't want anyone thinking I'm slacking off. I'm not a fair measure to that. I work antisocial hours at twice the normal price. Oh my god, same, bro. I work night shift because nobody's there. So, I can work night shift and I can be alone. It's great, fantastic. Even Anzu employees have to be overpriced. I'm pretty lucky to have found this job. It suits me well and pays even better. I just bought a quaint holiday home on the country. Just 600 more years of payments, and she'll be all mine. 600? Damn. Yeah, I bet you never get to see this lovely home of yours because you're stuck here working. You're not wrong. I actually don't remember the last time I was there, but it's still a nice thought to own something. He's a lot chattier now. Perhaps he's a night person, or maybe it's the guilt. This could work in my favor. Oof. I already know about him, though. I don't really... But I don't really want to ask about anybody else, because I feel like that'd be rude. So I'll just ask about him. Quite interested in Gaku, though, but... You know, I'm thinking about it, and I doubt if I asked Gaki about himself, he'd tell me anything. Or at least anything that I could actually trust. That's a hard decision. I really don't want to see Rune. I really don't. Like, if I ask him about someone else, I feel like he'd take offense to that, and I definitely don't want that. So I'll probably just ask him about him. You must have some free time to yourself. You have to sleep, don't you? Celios gives her the kind of condescending smirk that he's perfected. I'm sorry, this is difficult for me to read. Celios gives her the kind of condescending smirk that is perfected from being around Anzu all the time. It doesn't make Chris's blood boil, though. Not in the angry way, at least. You don't sleep? The man laughs bashfully, obviously trying to avoid answering the question. Like, never, ever? Not in the last 40 years, no. Damn, what? Oh my god. No wonder you're, like, the awake one here. And you're fine? Chris's tails are wagging happily behind her, and her eyes are sparkling so curiously at Celios. The fox may not notice it, but the vampire has, and he finds it unexpectedly cute. It's much more endearing than when Gaki does it, for when that Kitsuna's tails are bobbing about, it only spells trouble for the bloodsucker. Don't I look fine? Chris blushes suddenly, realizing that in her excitement she's gotten too close to the vampire. She must look like an idiot. Ah, yes. The Gumiho girl lashes out and grabs her two tails, trying to stop them from wagging so much. As you should. Sorry, that was a bit mean of me. Yes, I feel fine. Chris strokes down her tail so she has something to do other than look at Celios in the face. You can ask me more questions. I promise I'll be kinder. The Gumiho scrunches up her mouth, not liking the way the man's looking so pityingly at her. Regardless, she still has a few more things to ask him about. So, do you spend all your nights in the archives? Even I have to get out from time to time, stretch my wings, see the sights. There's this restaurant in town that's just got 5 stars on the Gluto review. I've been dying to visit it. So you work all day and work all night, most nights. My flexible schedule is probably why Anzu hired me in the first place, and is definitely why she hasn't fired me, as I'm told. When she wants something done, it gets done. That's extortion. She'll work you to death. With all due respect, this is a situation you have only glimpsed at. Perhaps you shouldn't share your own opinion of how things are around here until you've been here for more than a day. That's a good point. No matter how he started the sentence, the intent is clear. Celios's usually cool demeanor is suddenly as cold as a glacier. The frown he's given Chris is the same disapproving scowl he gave Gaki earlier. Don't you dare treat me like that, fool! But the damage is already done. Even though the vampire knows that not all Kitsuna are alike, the similarities are there. He just hopes that the fox girl's thoughtlessness is the only similarity between her and the other fox. I should probably be off to bed now. Then, is it okay if I take these 2 folders with me? By all means. Good night, Miss Gumiho. Haha! Acknowledge my species. Thank you. Being called a Gumiho takes the girl by surprise, although she can't tell if he's being sincere or simply toying with her. Holding the folder to her chest, Chris leaves without mentioning it, no matter how much she wants to know the truth. Celios looks over his shoulder at the girl, a smile creeping onto his face as the scent of berries and filet mignon disappear alongside her silhouette. Pretty! Oh my god, so pretty! So pretty. So many colors. And flowers. Why are the lamps 2 different lamps? I mean, I don't know if I really mind that, but I don't know how I feel about it. It's strangely quiet, almost peaceful on the fox's walk to the guest room. Oops, I hit the wrong button. My bad. With everything about her day having been far from normal, she's so very happy to find that her room is plain and she could cry from relief. Placing the folder she'd taken from the records room on the bedside table, Chris decides to call it a night and lies down. However, her mind just won't shut off. Too many things have happened for her to be able to just roll around and pass out. First, there was Gaki and his constant harassment. He seems harmless enough and probably isn't close enough to anyone inside the palace to be of any use. Chris can't completely rule him out, though, since he was the only one who seemed to tell her anything halfway truthful. Perhaps if she entertained him enough, he'd be open to telling her a lot more gossip. Plus, for a moment, it was refreshing to laugh like that, even though his jokes were bad enough to be made illegal. Then there's Celios. Chris's gut tells her that he's a nice guy, but you can't have a face like that and remain completely void of sin. She wants to trust him. He knows the records room like the back of his hand, and he's strangely loyal to Anzu. The girl just can't understand what about the governess can make someone as sensible as Celios so loyal to her strange ways. Speaking of those who are blindly loyal, Callie is probably just the governess's yapping lapdog. Chris knows the silver-haired girl will never turn on her master, though. The Gumiho is hardly one to look down on someone for their gullible loyalty. Yeah, can't really be upset at the mirror, you know? The biggest problem with Callie is that if anyone knows what Anzu is up to, it would be her. It's just a matter of time to get the girl to turn sides. Yet none of those people compared to Anzu. Dealing with that woman is like playing a game you're destined to lose. But Chris is too much of a sore loser to let that stop her. She's certain that somewhere within that woman's entangled existence, there's a loose thread that will unravel the whole thing. And then the glory will be all mine. She punches the air, her muscles pulling uncomfortably within her arm. Ow! She stretches out the knots in her arm and cracks the aches out of her shoulders. She's been hunched over a desk for too long, and it's time she called it a night. The girl's premature sense of accomplishment keeps her up for a long time until finally her eyelids grow heavy. Ah! Finished after one. Soul Collector, a young noble. No! I want to know! Who lives. In other words, he gets run. The most surprising thing about Gaki is that he's actually a diligent worker. Who'd have thunk it? Oh. Sorry, I was thinking. 369. Nice. Okay. Chris yawns to stay away. Chris tries to yawn away the boredom. She has been searching the shelves for an important file and is confident that she's finally gotten the hang of the insane filing system. But an hour later, she still has no luck. Ugh, I haven't got time for this. The girl knows she's wasting her time, and that any real answers are all safely tucked away in Anzu's office. There's no chance of me getting in there. She laughs bitterly at the painful truth of it, though that doesn't mean she's giving up. On the contrary, Chris is going to get in there and find those elusive files. She just needs to come up with a plan to sneak her way in. That could be dangerous. Good plan, and quick. A penny for them? Huh? Celios stands at the end of the aisle with a wiry smile and a glass of wine. Isn't it a bit early for wine? Oh, don't worry, it's just grape juice. And I'm just a kitsune. Celios chuckles to himself. What was that for? The man avoids Chris's confused stare and looks down at the glasses. down at the glass, admiring the things that wine-liking people admire about a swirling glass of wine, like the aroma and the swirliness of it. I thought so. And I'm not stupid. I know it's not just grape juice. I assure you it is. Would you like me to prove it? How are you going to prove that? I'd rather just taste it. She almost says yes when Celios takes a long sip of the grape juice. The clink of the vampire's fangs against the glass reminds her of the uncomfortable conversation they had the previous night. For that reason, she is quick to let Celios' daytime drink slide. What are you here for, anyway? To see if you're doing all right, unless you actually want a penny for your thoughts. What does that even mean? I have no idea. Oh, sorry. I assume everyone knew the phrase, a penny for your thoughts. I should know it. I'm human. Why do you know more about it? Who says that ever? We don't even use pennies down here. The man's blush becomes darker than the grape juice in his hand, only now realizing he's made the same stupid mistake as last night. It's a human thing, I suppose. It is a human thing. He swallows hard, trying to look less awkward, but failing at it. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. That's what you said last night. It was the first thing I thought when I saw you, and you look like you have a lot on your mind, so I assumed I'm sorry again. It's fine. I won't mention it. Ever. Do you need some help? Maybe I can make up for it by... I'm fine. I insist. Anything you need. Chris stares at the pale man long and hard. The word anything can do awful things to a sly mind. Oh, how the truth hurts. The girl bit her lip while thinking it over. Anything? Of course. Didn't you hear me the first time? What does that even mean? What are you talking about? How could I refuse? With a sigh of defeat, Chris realizes that she's finding it pretty hard to refuse the vampire's offer. I'd like that. Celios smiles unexpectedly, catching even himself off guard. His fangs, just for a moment, are fully visible. It only takes that moment for a flash of something strange to pass over the Gumiho's expression. I didn't mean to... Files. I need files. The girl walks away from Celios quickly, holding the files in her hand up to her face so he wouldn't notice that she was biting down on her lip, trying to fend off her own smile. What was that about? The two work as quickly as they can, dividing and conquering their way through Chris's list, and, most importantly, avoiding that small, awkward feeling that arises every time Celios catches Chris staring at his mouth. In spite of the awkwardness, Celios sticks around for a little longer, occupying himself with his own work and occasionally leaving to refill his glass. Slowly, Chris finishes gathering all the files she needs. Even though it's only a fake audit, she still wants to do it well. Looking at all the gathered files makes the girl feel a pang of pride. Celios. She looks around the archives. She didn't hear him leave, and his work is still on his desk. Maybe there's something hidden around here that can help me bring the governess to justice? The Gumiho wanders closely to Celios' desk, flipping open the first file. She doesn't even get a chance to read the first entry before a cold breeze runs down her back. How may I help you? The pale secretary looms behind the girl, reaching past her to shut the file, his face so close that she can now confirm that he certainly wasn't drinking grape juice. Why are we still on that topic? But that could only do so much to distract her from the mini heart attack she's having. There you are. The auditor tries to sound more confident than she actually feels, sliding away from the desk and Celios. Is there somewhere I can set up a workspace? I thought you would work here. So you can hover around me all day? No way. Well, it's too dark in here, and I'm so used to having my own space. Oh, and I need a place where there aren't cameras, please, because, confidentiality. I guess that sounds about right. Really? I mean, of course it does. He's totally gullible. Come this way. Let's go! My own office! Celios leads Chris down the service hallway into a small office in the old wing of Kiminoto Palace. There's no keycard reader on the door, and it takes a few kicks before it swings open, revealing a miserable-looking office. Ooh, do I get to clean? You can use this room for now. Celios holds his sleeve up over his mouth, shielding himself from the rising dust clouds. Your request caught me a bit off guard, so I'm afraid this is all we have to offer. You can continue using the archives if it's not satisfactory, of course. No, I'm sure it'll be fine here, thanks. If that's what you wish. See ya. The Gamiho notices a hard frown on the man's face as he nods his head and then leaves. She doesn't think her request was out of the ordinary. What's his problem? Governess Anzu. You're interrupting me, Celios. Anzu continues with her important task, gazing at her own reflection in the crystal floor, even as Celios approaches. It's taken a while, but she's almost reached the conclusion that the right side of her face is better than the left. Forgive me, I just wanted to inform you that the auditor has been relocated to the old wing's office. There are no cameras over there. She requested the old wing specifically. Perhaps she knew about that already. Her work is confidential, after all. It seems she might be more apt at her job than I gave her credit for. I thought she was just a present from Lucy. Our overlord really did forget my birthday. Damn, that sucks. Well, to be fair, Lucy can't even remember my name. Just that it started with a K. That's so rude. She even said it twice, and was reminded twice. How do you forget it? Whatever. With all due respect, my governess, you don't have a birthday. If you did, we would have made the appropriate arrangements to celebrate it. True, but I would have loved a cute little birthday present from Lucy, no matter what time of year it is. Do you have any further instructions, governess? No. Though that news has dampened my mood. Might I suggest a glass of wine? Are you sure it's not grape juice, Celios? That sounds perfect. Bring 2 bottles to my office. We can drink them together. And what of Kali? I'll send her to check on the fox. She does get a bit boring to be around sometimes. Perhaps a trip to the old wing will ruffle her feathers and make her a little more energetic. Very well. Haha. Damn, look at all that grime. Am I allowed to clean it up? It's easier for Chris to concentrate now that she has a hovel to call her own, ready to do her best for the one true overlord. The happy worker knuckles down and gets right on it. All right, let's do this. 30 minutes later... Hello? The door inches open. A sandwich on a plate is the first thing to enter the room. It shakes in the hands of a small silver-haired girl who's peeking into the office. She had knocked beforehand, but no one answered. Is she dead? Fox? Callie lingers by the door. She stands on her tiptoes, trying to see more of the room and peek over the blockade of files on the desk, but still no one answers. Fox? She walks slowly into the room. She knows there's nothing to be wary of besides rats and rotten floorboards, but the old wing of the palace still gives her the creeps. Fox, are you... Ah! Oh God, no! Callie! The poor baby. Callie slips on a loose piece of paper, still holding on to the plate. She and the sandwich fall to the ground with a loud crash. The commotion wakes Chris from her nap. Who's there? Standing alert, the fox girl looks around the room, her hands engulfed in flames and ears twitching as she listens for the intruder. Put those out! The Gamiho looks down at the white-haired girl. A snicker becomes a laugh, and a laugh becomes tears of joy at the sight of Callie. The flames disappear as Chris puts her hand over her mouth, trying to stifle the laughter. Yuck. Callie rises to her feet and begins a futile attempt to clean herself up. Nothing can help remove the large mustard stain that is now down the front of her dress, though. Aw, man. Nice of you to drop in, but I didn't call for room service. I did this for Anzu, not for you. I was instructed to bring you some lunch, and you decided to wear it instead? Chris's smug face sparks a fire under Callie. Sadly, the girl's not allowed to lay a finger on the auditor, as Anzu was quick to remind her before she left. So the only thing her anger can actually do is spark a blush across her pale cheeks. Eat the Callie sandwich. What does that even mean? I do want to tease her a bit, though. I'm not going to lie. But, if I choose something, I can't go back. I don't want to not react. I'll tease her a bit. At least the best part of it is okay. Oh, that's what you meant. That's funny. Callie reaches towards the girl, wide-eyed and off-guard. Callie flinches, the lettuce crown falling off her head as she steps back. Oh my God, that pickle is so big, it looks so good. I love pickles. She stares back, trying to keep her eyes defiant, even though she is really just too afraid to blink in case Chris, the supposed Gamiho, plucks the slab of sandwich meat from the girl's shoulder. Huh? Chris licks her lips happily as she swallows the meat. You beast! A watery-eyed Gamiha. Oh, whoa. Gamiha? What is that? Callie shouts out. She hasn't blinked for the longest time, and still the fright won't let her. A beast? That's rich coming from a girl who looks like a rabbit caught in a cabbage patch. The blonde's tongue runs over the front of her teeth. Rabbit stew. Damn, I'd kill for that. Was that a threat? What? You think I'm a rabbit, and you're a no-good fox. Oh, I didn't think about it like that. If only she were a real rabbit, and not just some pest with a bad attitude. The auditor rolls her eyes, causing the silver-haired girl's face to fill with anger again. Don't do that. Don't do what? That. Are all you foxes so? I'm not a fox. Fine, kitsune, or whatever you call it. I'm a Gamiho, not a kitsune. Big difference. Where are all your tails then? I don't have any more tails. Then you can't be called a... I don't need 9 tails to be a Gamiho. I know what I am. A long pause ensues as both of the girls try to save face and avoid their own haunting insecurities. The room deathly quiet throughout the whole process. Their scowls slacken along with their diminishing prides. Thanks for the sandwich. What was that? Nothing. Chris rolls her eyes, but the girl doesn't comment this time. She's already commented enough on things that don't concern her, and yet... What are you smiling at? This is the most I've ever heard you say. I guess I'm kind of enjoying it. Don't get used to it. The smaller girl tries to fight back a blush. She knows that she should take her own advice, as Anzu always reminds her. The door slams behind Callie. For a moment, she just stands behind the now closed door and breathes slowly. I can't let Governess Anzu see me like this. Her cheeks still burn, and the urge to scream into a pillow makes her whole body tingle. Slapping herself on the cheek, she tries to dispel whatever it is that's gnawing at her mind. The door creaks and a cold draft blows down the hall. Callie's face glows with fright. Suddenly, she doesn't care if Anzu sees her, just as long as she gets out of the old wing as fast as possible. I thought we could continue looking over the numbers sent from the ghost town. They've been fluctuating lately. Or maybe we could play a game of checkers instead. We can use the same rules as last time. The girl's been on edge ever since she came back from seeing Chris. This would have been entertaining if the girl dealt with it better. Instead, she's chatty. My governess? I'm bored. Then we can... Of you, Callie. I'm so bored of you. I need something to excite me. We don't have to play checkers. Ugh. Anzu groans. The more Callie speaks, the more displeased the woman becomes. I like it better when you're silent. I'm sorry, governess. I'll remain silent from now on. And yet, that's still so boring. The woman suddenly smiles. Callie's whole heart leaps up from seeing Anzu smile so honestly. The only problem is that she isn't the cause of said smile. Mistress Anzu, did you think of something to do? The succubus leaves the room without comment, and the girl rises quickly to follow after her. Stay here, Callie. The governess shuts the door behind her, leaving the girl alone in the room. Then perhaps I can... My governess? Callie tries to open the door, but each time she presses her key card to the sensor, a red light appears above it. My governess, you seem to have locked the door. Anzu, please open the door. The door suddenly stops rattling and becomes still. Callie lies in front of the entrance, her body curled up to hide her face. Don't leave me behind. Knock, knock. Chris looks up from her work. Her instincts tell her to stand, but then her pride reminds her that it's only Anzu. However, the auditor is still a ward of the main Hell government and should therefore act accordingly. Someone's been working hard, and I love what you've done with the place. I mean, it wasn't that hard to clean. Anzu walks around the room as if she owns it, which she does, but that isn't the point. The point is the governess has a horrible talent of making places suddenly feel uncomfortable. It's been a while since I've been here. No wonder it is indeed standard at best. Oh, how time flies. Did you come here for small talk, Governess Anzu? No, I came for tea. You don't seem to have any. I don't really like tea. That doesn't surprise me. For a long moment, the woman doesn't say anything, leaving Chris to stand awkwardly while waiting for Anzu's attention to wander back to her. But it never does. The raven-haired woman makes herself comfortable, sitting on top of the desk in a half lounge, digging her nails into the wood of the object. I would appreciate it if you'd find anything. Interesting, that is. Though looking at those files, I doubt it. There's nothing interesting in there. Anzu cast a mocking grin on the sad pile of files, the scratching of her nails growing increasingly loud the longer she stares. Chris remains silent, and Anzu's smile begins to strain under her thinning patience. You're surprisingly committed to your cause, aren't you? That's just the type Lucy likes to keep around, workers who are like good disposable razors. I suppose it's because that one finds them the easiest to toss aside when they're no longer useful. Then you should understand why I'm eager to get back to my task. Chris keeps her head bowed away from Anzu's prying gaze. Just one crack is all the wiggle room the woman needs to dig her talons in. The fox keeps her head bowed, saving herself from the succubus's prying gaze. Anzu leans in closer, but is surprised to see that the girl simply remains on task. Maybe I'm losing my touch. But that is what makes new playthings so fun, finding out what makes them snap. Fox, look at me when I speak to you. Your rudeness doesn't reflect well upon those who raised you. Chris raises her head and looks Anzu in the face, eye to eye. You have a keen eye, don't you? How amusing. Chris's stare doesn't falter. Even though her heart feels like it will, she doesn't know how much more of Anzu's prying she can tolerate. Now let me ask you again. What has that keen eye of yours found? I mean, I'll be honest, I don't want to make shit up. Honestly, I doubt any of it would interest anyone. Gumiho takes the biggest slice of humble pie as she admits her defeat. She isn't some well-seasoned spy. She's just a two-tailed Gumiho who can read boring files very quickly. Besides being an almighty Gumiho, there really isn't anything spectacular about her. Maybe it isn't a big scale of humble pie, but it's still a start. Not even Lucy, especially not Lucifer. The fox's tails droop between her legs, and her ears fall a little flatter. She knows what she needs to do to succeed. She's just not sure that she can accomplish it. She looks so defeated. Anzu laughs softly to herself, finishing her little etching on the table. Well, I'd better let you hurry up and finish then. There is one thing, though. The succubus doesn't hide the falter in her smile very well, but she recovers as gracefully as she moves. What's that? One of the files mentions that you were appointed governess only 900 years ago. You were very young when you started, probably one of the youngest governors to date. Well, we shouldn't believe everything we read, should we? Chris and Anzu share a knowing look, one that neither can read but both feel intensely. Anzu bounces off the desk, straightening out her clothes before turning to leave. She makes it all the way to the door before stopping and casting a glance over her shoulder at the now seated fox girl. I almost forgot the reason I came. Besides to terrorize Callie and poke the fire beneath Chris, that is. Dinner's ready. Don't be late. We take our seats at the hour. Anzu gives a short wave, and then the clip-clop of her shoes fades down the hallway. At least Chris can breathe easily. She rocks her head from side to side, trying to get the tense knots out, when her eyes catch sight of the desk Anzu's been leaning on. She gets up, wiping away the curls of wood carvings and dust to find her name freshly scratched into the wood's surface. But it isn't just her name. She counts over 16 other names, now well-aged and all scratched into the wood. Is this her idea of a warning? In fact, it's part of a long tradition of Anzu's playful warnings, since not one of those names' owners left Anzu's company unscratched. Well, it's not going to work. Chris is made of tougher stuff. She is close to getting what she came for, and there's no turning back for no one. For one so determined. Defeated? Ha! She laughs at the idea. Chris finds her way back to the main wing, and suddenly she's thrown into a maze of hallways and doors. I should have left with Anzu. No, you don't leave with that witch. We will not succumb to that level. Even in her current situation, she only half means that. The girl finally takes a wild guess and exits the service hallway. To her relief, she finds her way back to the main entrance. Let's go! Ha! Who needs that lady now? So true. Despite her stroke of luck, the main entrance hall isn't where she wants to be, and she shouldn't celebrate just yet, as Chris is about to discover for herself. The clock chimes for the new hour. The girl is officially late. Everyone will be sitting down for dinner, and Anzu's office will be left unguarded. Bingo. Now she can celebrate, though it will be short-lived. Chris turns the knob to the door, but it won't budge. Idiot! Like Anzu would ever just leave it open. The auditor looks over at the keycard reader. I could just lie. I was looking for them, or something like that. I am lost, and this is the only place I know how to get to. That's a totally believable lie, right? I'd believe it, but that's not saying much because I'm gullible. But it's a lie. The one thing Anzu can do well is sniff out lies. The Gumiho doesn't know that, though. And so, with a brave amount of stupidity, she takes out her keycard. Ah! Damn it! Celios! No! There you are. The girl slips the keycard into her sleeve before turning to the vampire, who just so happens to be passing by. Dinner has begun. I don't know where that is. Nobody told me anything. She just told me dinner was ready on the hour and left. What was I supposed to do? I got lost. She says faster than is believable. It's a good thing I found you. I'll escort you to the dining room. But I'll be late. That's embarrassing. Chris nods and follows after Salios. Looking back at the door, although she's grateful someone has stopped her from doing something so rash, the girl is just itching to know what Anzu's hiding. The dining room is just through here. I'm sorry for not informing you sooner. The pale man stops at the door that looks exactly like all the others they just passed, and next to it there's another keycard reader, which is surprising. Do all the rooms have keycard readers? Most do. They didn't used to, but certain visitors made it necessary. I bet this has to do with the names on the desk. Other spies, perhaps? My life would be so much easier if Gaki didn't exist. Oh, I'm sure most people share your thoughts. Chris takes out her keycard, but Celios beats her to the punch. You only have limited access, correct? I can't even open the door to the dining room by myself? I did not read that right in the slightest. Let's try that again, shall we? I can't even open the door to the dining room myself. Perhaps I'm simply being too cautious. The dining room should be okay. The governess most likely only placed limits on her workspace, wouldn't you say? He looks at Chris knowingly. So he did see what I was about to do. Then why isn't he ratted me out yet? The vampire opens the door and steps aside to let the Gamiho walk in ahead of him. Celios, there you are. Sorry for my lateness, governess. I was just fetching our guest from her office. Oh, so it is the fox's fault. No one told me where the dining room is. Is that really my fault? Come on. I have a lot of work to do. So much that you're late for dinner. How rude. Hurry up and take a seat. We've already started without you. Celios takes his seat first, kneeling on a large cushion next to Callie, which leaves Chris with no choice but to sit between him and Anzu. That's unfortunate. Is everyone here? Yes, we only have a small team of workers. Size doesn't matter, Fox. Efficiency does. Only 4 cushions are placed around the grand table that can comfortably fit 16 people. Then there's the food. Several different dishes are placed on their own respective communal plates. Slices of rare beef sit in puddles of blood, and grilled fish fillets are being blackened by a hot plate. There's enough food to feed an orphanage. Then why? Chris looks over at Anzu's plate. It's nothing but shellfish and fruit. A strange combination that the succubus picks at between her sharp-tongued quips. So Callie and Celios are the only employees here? Of course not. I said efficient, not stupid. They are the only resident employees. The others take care of matters off-site. Can you really call Celios a resident if he doesn't even sleep there? To be fair, he doesn't sleep anyways. But, I guess, staying around the clock kind of counts. Oh well, I'm just picking holes for fun. What sort of matters? Ugh. Yeah, I expected that. The governess rolls her eyes and pops a grape into her mouth, obviously done with Chris's questions. Oh, I only asked 2. Perhaps we should leave the interrogations for outside of the dining room. Thank you, Celios. Celios offers gently. Anzu breaks the head of a king prawn. Anzu breaks the head off a king prawn, sucks the meat out of it in bitter silence. There's no comma there, so I was confused. The vampire, taking this as cue to begin eating, serves himself and Chris. Let's go. I really did not want to reach across the table in front of Anzu, because I feel like she'd take advantage of that somehow, and I don't like that feeling. The room dines in a strange silence. Anzu looks to Callie, but the girl never raises her head from her plate as she pushes her salad around. A salad? Is she still sulking? What a boring toy she's turned out to be. The woman catches Chris staring at Callie with a concerned frown, with a concerned furrowing of her brow. The governess's attention bounces between them as she wonders which will entertain her the most. You shouldn't fill yourself up on meat, Fox. Try the oysters. It's still technically meat. Well, is it? Are oysters meat? Oysters? The blonde looks around the table, but she's never seen an oyster before. There are a few things on the table that she has never seen before, in fact. Some of them appear rather frightening to her, like the strange fruit that looks like the inside of a cracked head. I have no idea what fruit she's talking about. I know dragon fruit looks pretty scary. I'm sorry. I'm eating. Well, I'm eating meat sticks. Oh, you poor child. Have you never had an oyster before? Why would I need oysters if I could have meat? Hey, look, I'm eating meat. I didn't even realize that. Look at us, all 5 of us, eating dinner together. Anzu lifts a half shell off her own plate, shifting the fleshy blob around in its own cloudy juices. It doesn't look very delicious, but Chris's tails still flick with anticipation. Will it taste like shrimp? Or maybe it's like tuna. I've never had oysters before. I heard a lot of people say they're disgusting, though, and that it's more of an experience because it tastes gross. Now say, okay. That's cute. Damn. Lemon! Meat. Okay. The succubus lifts the shell to Chris's lips and pours the goop down her mouth. The girl winces at the strange sensation of the oysters rolling down her throat. I'm sorry. This meat is, making my mouth water more than I thought it would. Silly thing, don't just swallow it. You should chew it a few times first. Really grind the flavor out. Here, try another one. Anzu moves in towards Chris again, and the fox leans in, opening her mouth, ready to receive the second helping of seafood. Callie's fork clatters to the ground. The Gumiho looks away from Anzu to the red-faced girl. She stares right back at Chris, and for once, she doesn't look so angry, more like frightened? Stupid girl. Sorry, governess. Callie's body shakes as she lowers her head and retrieves the fork from the floor. That's better. Now back to you, dear. I think I've had enough. Nonsense. Now open up. No, really, open your mouth. Chris looks at Callie and then out of the corner of her eye sees Salios nod slowly. The Gumiho turns back to Anzu with a weak smile and opens her mouth. This time, Chris chews the raw oyster. It is probably one of the most delicious things she has ever tasted, which certainly doesn't answer this question of why she has a bitter taste in her mouth all of the sudden. Well, oh my god, why is the skin so tough? I'm so sorry. I'm like starving to death over here. The governess practically force-feeds Chris the entire meal. It doesn't go unnoticed by Callie or Salios, but neither speaks up about the women's strange behavior. After all, that rich food, the Gumiho feels too tired to continue with her work. And, as Salios suggests to her, She goes back to her room to take a nap. She wakes from her nap feeling recharged, grateful for the suggestion from earlier. The only problem now is that she doesn't quite feel like getting back to work. Her head just isn't there. Okay. Tried it? No, PTSD. I don't want to get lost. Let's go into town. I've been cooped up in here for too long. Too long. If Chris is being honest, she's tired of this place, and most of all, the people living in it. She needs to get out. Yes. Preach. Why is there a spider web, bro? You can't clean that? Oh my god, there's so many spider webs. You can't clean any of these? They're like right in the open. Oh my god, this spider web is on pretty flowers. Like, oh my gosh. Whatever. It isn't often that the auditor gets to travel around the other districts. As far as she knows, very few people do. There's just too much red tape to go through. I didn't have to go through red tape. I just had to appear. Which is interesting. Not interesting, but convenient. The further away from the palace she goes, the less luxurious everything around her slowly becomes. There are old houses that hunch over like old women, and large cobwebs that stretch unnaturally between the buildings. Between the buildings? I could never walk through there. I have arachnophobia, and like every spider web I touch would be like a spider crawling on me. I couldn't. The older the buildings become, the quieter everything around her is, until the only sound left is the tapping of Chris's shoes. I see. I've walked too far. I will walk back. Chris! And that voice. I knew it was you. Now silence is to be a thing of the past. Gaki chases after the girl, waving his hand high in the air, as if it's somehow otherwise difficult to see the only other person on the street running towards her like a child after an ice cream truck. You know, I heard an ice cream truck in my neighborhood recently, but I heard it as it was driving away. It was so sad. I didn't even have any money at the time. Ugh. It was so upsetting. I've never gotten ice cream, like, from an actual ice cream truck. I've gotten ice cream from, like, trucks that sold ice cream, but I've never gotten ice cream from, like, ice cream truck with, like, that stereotypical ice cream truck sound. I've never done that. It's a thing I want to experience it, but I just haven't been able to. It's a sad time. Run and hide. No, I'm gonna wait and see. Chris rolls her eyes, but decides to wait and see what the guy has to say. Anyone who's wandering around such a dead part of town can't have very many places to be, or many people who want him around. It's a little sad, really. Hey, long time no see. Too long. Way too long. Like, it's not the fact that I'm happy to see you, it's the fact that I'm happy to not be around other people. It's only been a day. It's felt like 2. Though she has been wondering where Gaki had... Oh, wait, no, this is the 2nd day. So, technically, we're on the same page. Though she has been wondering where Gaki had went, it's half her pride and half her ego which made her admit that a part of her missed having him around. Wow, really? It felt like forever. Yeah. I've been through a lot. In just one day, bro. I'm tired. I haven't even finished with the records. So much work to do. So little time. Here it comes. A cheesy line. Is he going to lead with this time. So what brings you to this ghost town? A ghost town? That's what he asked me? About a boring ghost town? No, anytime we're apart, it feels like forever. Or, it doesn't matter how long we're apart, the love I carry in my heart is... I don't know. I don't use stupid lines like that, just something along those lines. Yeah, don't they have ghost towns where you're from? No. I'm from Hell's main place, so no. If we had ghost towns, they get destroyed. Of course not. Every area in the main Hell government is highly sought after by diplomats and officials. Not a single square inch is derelict. What? No, I meant, like, the part where the ghosts live. This is a ghost town? That's what I said, didn't I? Wait, no, but you said ghost town, not like... You're telling me actual, real-life ghost... Well, real life is a stretch, but... How are you not surprised by this misunderstanding? Why are you even here, then? Go start... Oh... The fox boy launches forward and covers Chris's mouth. A mournful howl blows. Goodness. A mournful howl blows through the empty street, making both their tails bristle in cold fright. I forgot that he's also a fox, so he would have the same reactions. Oh, not fox. My bad. Shh, they'll hear you. I want to leave. The girl looks around and sees faint red eyes gleaming out of the windows. Come on, I'd better take you back to the palace. We can walk and talk together. Yep, that's perfectly fine with me. I would have a problem with that usually, but I want to leave. The howling slowly dies down, and Gake slightly pulls away from her, grabbing hold of her hand and dragging her along. As they walk, the sound returns. Chris's claws dig into the boy's hand as he has to practically drag her along. She just wants to get out of there without some ghastly ghost possessing her, or worse. Wow, you really don't like ghosts, huh? The Gumiho doesn't answer, her head twisting to look down every dark alley and peering into every darker windows. Into even darker windows, too afraid to take her eyes off them for even a second. Even if she can't see them, she knows they're there, just watching and waiting, and had a bad experience with them or something. One bad experience isn't all there is to an entire race, you know. Honestly, not all ghosts are creepazoid stalkers. Some are really... They stalk people? Yeah, it was all over the news last month. But if that's not what you're worried about, then what's got your tail all in a twist? Literally in a twist, that is. Shut up! Gake looks down at the girl's bound legs and snorts. Chris can barely walk right with the way her tails are twisted around her legs. I've never met a ghost before, but I've heard they're terrible. Then you really are overreacting. I don't understand how you can be so calm about this. Can we just leave? Please? No, I'm not. Gake gives a warning look. Subtle monitoring to the red eyes that have suddenly lit up around them. I just don't like them, okay? Chris says as quietly as she can. How can you possibly know that if you've never met one before? Generally, that kind of logic is only good for reasoning with small children. We've established that Gake and Chris are both small children. Many times. We've established it many times. The more people grow, the more they become they begin to realize that there may be good reasons to avoid certain things, especially if the things are as awful as ghosts. They were banished from the main hell district. That proves how terrible they are. Wow, really? I never knew that. Don't you read the news? Several of them were found guilty of possessing humans and starting the 100-Year War. If it weren't for ghosts, the war would have never happened. I always just thought it started because some bullshit power play by Overlord Lucifer. Chris angrily tears away from Gaki. She's never heard someone stupid or treacherous enough to say something so impossible to her, or about her, the Dark One. What? How can you say something like that? You can't actually believe that the war was our Overlord's fault. That's just... Well, it kinda was, wasn't it? A bunch of demons didn't like the way Lucifer was running things, so they revolted. Sounds pretty cut and dry to me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the way the great and magnificent ruler governs the 7 districts. I could have you arrested on the spot for this kind of treason. Treason? What is this, the Dark Ages? Man, they really have you under their thumb over there, huh? I'm a ward of the main hell government. I choose to be under their thumb. On second thought, I choose to serve them. All I'm saying is that if everything was so perfect before, then there would have been no war, and no one would have had to die. Even an idiot can see that. I'm not an idiot. Whoa, I never said you were. Look, I don't have the whole story. No one does. But I do know that the war caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. You weren't there. How could you possibly know? My dad was gone for half my life because he was fighting in that stupid battle. And according to him, that's why I'm such a disobedient child. I took advantage of my position in life for something. Never had a strong hand to beat me into submission and all the rest. That explains a lot. Hey, don't go agreeing with him. You're spoiled, and you don't take no for an answer. Sounds like a firm hand is exactly what you need. When is no ever the correct answer? Say yes to everything no matter how much the world tells you no. That's my motto. I mean, that sounds like a fun motto, but what if, a person tells you no? Do you think Gaki is attractive? Are any of his jokes funny? What about his brain? Is it larger than a peanut? Hey, what's that all about? Well, you said to say yes, and if you say yes to those questions, they're questions where no is always the correct answer. The Kitsuna may not enjoy being the butt of Chris's jokes, but it's still kind of funny that he can't help laughing at it. Alright, how about some other questions then? Like what? I'm a pretty interesting guy from a pretty awesome family. I'm sure you can think of one. How many siblings do you have? That's not about me. It is about you. Just answer it. 3. Next question. Brothers? Sisters? That's still not about him. 3 sisters. They're all trouble. Now ask me an interesting question. Damn, Gaki. Needy much? I thought that was interesting. I don't have any siblings myself. You're lucky. I have 1 sibling. And 3 step-siblings. Although, we're a bit older, so it's not as fun anymore. Might have been nice to have some. Nice? Well, you can have all my siblings if you want them. And take my father, too. A real 4 for the price of none offer. Why do you want to get rid of them so much? 'Cause once they're gone, I'll be Lord Gaki. Wow. What's so special about being a lord? It sounds better than master. Knew some stupid shit like that. The girl looks at him expectingly. Makaki doesn't say a thing. Chris doesn't want to admit that she's disappointed, but... Come on, seriously? What? You haven't said even one inappropriate thing today. It's very surprising. Didn't you threaten me with treason earlier? You must... Sorry. You must have said... I must have said something pretty important at some point. Inappropriate at some point. I mean, like, all that flirting you did yesterday. You're like a completely different person now. You haven't flirted with me once. Ah, you're right, I haven't. Don't look so happy with yourself. I don't know, I was just enjoying talking to you. Oh, is that it? The Gamiho feels strangely happy to hear that, but then Gaki voices a second hypothesis. And I just came from the whorehouse. I guess I'm all flirted out already. Damn. Ugh, you're more disgusting than I thought. That at least explains what he was doing in the ghost town. Don't tell me you're feeling lonely now. I still think you're cute, if that helps. It doesn't. Really cute. Shut up. Okay, that's enough now. Like, so cute I could just die. Stop it already, I get it. No, I don't want to say... Okay. Chris is the cutest ever. Shut the fuck up, Gaki. I will kick you. Again. The fox boy shouts at the top of his lungs, leaping on the Gamiho's back with the crippling hug. Me and my big mouth. For real, man. The two of them continue to walk back to the palace, both of them now feeling a little more comfortable around each other. In fact, it's strange how comfortable they feel. It's as if they've known each other their whole lives. Gaki suddenly stops walking, and before Chris realizes it, they're back at Kuminoto Palace. Well, here you are. We're back at the palace, safe and sound, just like I promised. No ghosts. Maybe you're not such a lost cause. Are you going to come inside? That may be just another question where no is the correct answer. Alright, thanks for walking me back. Anytime, milady. Gaki bows, touching Chris's hand to his head, and using up every last ounce of the princely charm that is left in his sleazy body. He actually pulls off the whole prince act pretty well. Or would, if it wasn't completely embarrassing, that is. Never do that again. Never again, my lady. The girl stands at the gate and watches as he runs back into town. He runs backwards, waving as he goes, not wanting to take his eyes off Chris. His eyes off Chris for a moment. Okay. I read it wrong, but it was correct. And then he turned straight into a street vendor's carts, almost losing his leg in a wheel of the contraption. The cart driver shouts at him, and even from the palace gate, Chris can hear Gaki try to charm his way out of trouble, laughing it off as an accident. He looks back at the girl, checking to see if she saw the incident or not, but no luck there. The boy gives her one last wave and a toothy smile before running off with tomato splatter on his back. You know, trying to relax. and being in town probably didn't really mesh very well. Chris feels both emotionally and physically exhausted. For the first full day of work, it feels like the last. Although she is no closer to the answer she needs for her report, the day hasn't been a complete waste. She yawns, barely able to keep her eyes open. The Kumiho just barely manages to undress before drifting off to sleep. Oh my god, he looks adorable! Bear knows past and tastes pleasure in little things. I can't read that fast. He's 350. Basically, he's a hipster. Aww. There are reasons why, despite every last personality trait in her, Chris is, in fact, a diligent worker. Sorry, I saw my mouse. I had to move it. It's not simply because of her tragic backstory or because of the fact that she idolizes a tyrant. The girl is a hard worker because she has always overcompensated for her two-tailed existence. The logic plays as this. Not all foxes have 9 tails, but all Gaminos are diligent. Conclusion, no matter how many tails a fox has, a diligent fox is a Gamiho. The statement is incorrect, of course. A Gamiho, by definition, must have 9 tails, but that's the sort of logic that plays in Chris's head and makes her work her hardest, even when the odds are stacked against her. It's all useless. There's too much to get through. Even diligent workers have moments of doubt and futility. Though, in the fox girl's case, her doubts are probably worth listening to, and she should pack up and leave before she digs deeper into problems that go beyond matters of simple finance. And I can't give up. I have people who are depending on me. By people, Chris obviously means Lucifer. Everyone else she neither knows nor cares about. If she did, perhaps she would consider their needs first and put an end to the witch hunt. What am I going to do? Kumiho's head slams down onto the open file. She ran the numbers in her head, and the file will take at least another week to get through. Time she doesn't have. Oh. Okay, I get it. Hold on. Listen. It's been 3 hours. I've got this. She ran the numbers in her head, and the files will take at least another week to get through. Time she doesn't have for work that doesn't promise to be fruitful. What the girl needs is to look long and hard at her life choices and make some new ones. She won't do that, however, so I'll break Anzu's neck. She won't do that either. Or hold her head underwater until her life flashes before her eyes. Perhaps Chris's thoughts should be kept to herself while she is contemplating her next move. The most important thing is that in the next few moments, everything will be clear. Or not. There's nothing here. After reading well into the afternoon, Chris still isn't any better off than when she first started this morning. Maybe even worse off, she thinks. But she isn't. She's just exaggerating. That's how demotivation works. One moment you're on top, and the next, there's a knock at the door. Knock, knock. What's the point of knocking and saying it? Because you can't ignore me the second time. So yes, I'm so bored, and I can't find anything. I mean, these finances look great. Sorry, there's something in my throat. Gross. Chris shakes her head. The more she gets to know Celius, the more she can ignore the way he looks at her like she's a cheesecake and appreciate his lame humor. So, can I come in, or am I disturbing something? Nope, just me and the ghost. You shouldn't make such racist jokes, Chris. Ghosts have a hard time fitting in, and we should... Is it going to be a long lecture? I have work to do. The vampire looks down at the work pile and is shocked into a moment of silence, allowing the girl to avoid one lecture and jump straight to the next. No! No. Like, long lectures mean no lectures. Never realized you had this many files out. Have you been keeping them in order? Like these magenta folders shouldn't be touching the salmon ones. Not when you have a... I promise to put them back in order before I leave. Thank you. I really appreciate that offer, but I can do it right now. It'll only take me seconds, really. I'm sure I can handle it by myself, Celius. Isn't this more work than one Gamiho can handle alone? A little help certainly won't hurt you. Whoa. There's nothing this Gamiho can't do. Chris announces with more confidence than she truly feels. God, I always say the lines wrong, but, it's hard to gauge how she says it. Maybe I should look at her expressions more? Ugh, this is difficult. That is very true. However, I would feel better if you'd let me help you. I have all of my work in order, and I have 2 hands to spare. Or wings, if you prefer that. I'd love to say yes, but you know I can't. Confidential documents and all that. I know, but they used to be my confidential papers. That's a great argument, but, I'd still have to say no. There is putting passion into your work, and there is being a bit too obsessed with it. The pale man often doesn't know where to draw that line. As he stares at the file on Chris's desk, with a wanton look of a mother, he lets out a heavy sigh of defeat. You're completely right. I'm sorry for even offering. What you said is completely understandable. Perhaps I can be of use in another way, then. Another way? I can grab us a little snack. You didn't skip lunch, so you must be at least a little hungry. That sounds great. Capital, then. Capital? I don't understand that. Then I'll be right back. I also have a snack. Here we are. Celius walks in and sets up a small dining area on one of the open desks. He's even brought a tablecloth so that we don't have to eat on a dusty old desk. That's so cute. He tried so hard. Lunch is served. Did you really need to bring all that? No, but it's just so uncommon for me to cook for someone else. I wanted to make a bit of an effort. Oh my god, you can cook? Lucky. I can cook basic crap. Like, pasta. And, eggs. Pancakes. Anything that is, very cut and dry or has instructions, I can do pretty good at. But I don't really call that cooking. That's just reading. And the candles. The vampire is leaned over the desk and just about to light them when he realizes that the auditor has a point. Perhaps we can do without the candles. The girl drags her chair over and sits by Celius. With a proud look on his face, the vampire uncovers 2 very blue steaks. The skin has hardly been scorched, and both steaks are swimming in pools of blood. I'm so glad another meat eater is around. Governess, Anzu eats nothing but seafood, and Callie is always on a diet because she eats too many sweets. Chris pokes a nail into the meat, causing a bubble of blood to rise out of it. Is something the matter? It's a little rare. Rare? Did I overcook it again? Sally! No! Overcook it? Don't you like your steaks blue, too? I like them with a lot less and blood, and it looks so... What Chris was about to say, but thankfully never does make Celios recoil inward. Well, what Chris was about to say, but thankfully never does, makes Celios recoil inward. He had thought that they were a lot closer, but now he's starting to realize that they have a lot more differences than similarities. The pale man leans forward and starts to pack away the little scene he had taken so much time to prepare. Once again, his very existence has ruined something. No, I'll eat it. And it'll be good, you know? My humblest apologies. I'll get you something more. I'm sorry. I don't know why I assumed anyone but myself would enjoy something like this. Don't worry about it. It's just who you are. Celios stops, turning to the girl with a new look of defeat and irritation. Yes, and if I am frank, I'm being a bit tired of being who I am. It's not quite all that I thought it would be. Living down here? Being a vampire without a house. I might have always been an outsider, but at least up there, it all made sense. Now it's hard to stomach. You could always establish your own house. I'm neither rich nor important enough. No one would betray their own house to follow me. I would. And give up your job for working for our great and powerful overlord. Well, when you put it like that... Chris would never turn her back on Lucifer like that, but the idea of joining a house, becoming a part of something like a family, is a little enticing to her. I thought so. If you ever change your mind, perhaps I'd accept you as part of my house. On a few conditions, that is. Conditions? What conditions? The man has that look in his eyes again. That no one... The one that makes Chris feel like a dead cow. He stretches forward, and the blonde winces at his touch, her eyes shutting as she holds her breath in anticipation. Celios chuckles, simply tucking a strand of hair behind her ear, gripping the end of it gently. That when you are a part of my house, you won't look so afraid of me. I'm not afraid. The vampire rolls his eyes and gathers their plates, ready to put an end to their failure of a lunch. I should probably let you carry on with your work now. He nods towards the Gumiho before leaving her in the dusty little office. I didn't even get to eat. How are you gonna, dangle food in front of me and then say it's not good enough and walk away? What am I supposed to do now? Now I have to eat. And now I can't eat with you. It's sad. It's a sad day. Chris doesn't move for a while, shivering not out of fright, but out of something far stranger. To Chris's shock, the dining room opens with her keycard. Let's go! Only 2 people are sat at the table, ready for dinner. Anzu is still missing, and Callie is looking glumly down at her plate. The only acknowledgement the girl's entrance gets is from Celios. Glad you found your way this time. And my keycord even worked for the door. Well, I expect that you have Callie to thank for that. Celios motions towards the girl who's picking at her small meal of soup and bread. Oh, soup and bread, that sounds good. The silver-haired girl looks up at Chris but says nothing in response. least she's acknowledging me in public now. The Gumiho feels a little happy with all these small victories of hers. The three of them begin their meal. Besides the sound of their chewing, everything is quiet and reasonably peaceful. No! Why is he here? Why do you allow him in the dining room? He doesn't even have a key card. All of the tranquility is brought to an abrupt end when the door suddenly swings open and in strides Anzu with Gaki close behind. My governess! The small girl exclaims, standing up from her seat, but the governess's cold glare saps all the girl's surprise and delight out, causing her to crumple back onto her seat. Every time I came in... God damn it, Gaki, we're eating! Every time I came in one mouth, boom, another would spring up and start sucking a different part of me. I thought it would never end. Who would have thought a Hydra would make such a good bad fellow? But that's just like the madam, always going the extra mile to bring new pets to her house. She said the Hydra was more for her female patrons, but I still found good use for all those heads. Ah, speaking of the madam, she said you haven't... Oh, Chris! Much to Anzu's relief, the Fox Boy's attention is suddenly diverted towards the table of delicious beings, and Salios. What are the chances of meeting you here? Very high. Pretty high, considering that she's staying. Master Gaki, what are you doing? Gaki forces the cushions between Salios and Chris, sitting himself awkwardly upon it. There's clearly not enough space, and half the cushion rests on the vampire's lap before he's forced to stand up, glaring down at the intruder. Fix me a plate, would you? The kitsune bats a hand at Salios, shooing him away from his side. This is hardly acceptable behavior, Master Gaki. Gaki scooches close enough to Chris that one wrong move of her fork could end up stabbing him in the eye. A thought does occur to her for a moment. Oh, how I've missed you. Did you miss me too? We met like... That's so funny. What's it called? We met like literally earlier today. The girl is saved from having to answer that when Salios stomps his foot, gaining the Fox Boy's attention. That is my seat. And now it's mine. Shoo fly. Don't say that to him. Why? What's he gonna do? Anzu's too busy with her pet, and I'm too invested in mine. Fifth wheels, like Salios, should just roll into ditches and die. Man, you two are... Why do you two hate each other so much? The boy laughs while feeding himself from the girl's plate. No! My precious meat! Hey, get your own. Why? You're the only morsel I need. Yeah, but you're still eating mine. Master Gaki, that is... Salios begins to speak, but knows that there is nothing he can do without Governess's Anzu's input. The pale man looks to her, but she simply isn't looking his way. Instead, she's instructing Callie on what to put on her plate, though Callie looks all too happy to oblige. The two women converse while Callie fills Anzu's plate with lobster tails, fish eggs, several strawberries, nectarines, mango slices, kumquats. Damn. I know how to say that word, but I can't remember. Kumquats, and whatever the hell else pleases the governess's eye in the moment. Callie's hand shakes under the weight of all the food, but Anzus continues to instruct her. My lady? The woman shrieks. No. The woman smirks, twisting Callie's silver strands of hair around her finger until the bridge stretches taut between them. all Anzu's attention remains on her meal, and Salios finally gives up. Very well. I'm so sorry, Salios. The vampire bites his tongue, taking his plate and cushion to sit beside Callie. With a grimace, the girl scoots away from him and closer to Anzu. The uncomfortable atmosphere at the table continues until the silver-haired girl finally places the governess's plate in front of her. Only now is everyone else at the table worthy of her attention. How has your work been, Fox? You almost finished? It's coming along steadily. I should be finishing my assignment on schedule. Oh, I'm quite sad to hear that. No, you're not. As am I. And me too. Callie doesn't share the sentiment, but she doesn't look at Chris for a moment. Her expression a little hard to read. At least she isn't glaring at Chris anymore. She has been working extra hard, even though I haven't read her reports. She seems to be a very... I know that, naturally. As a kitsune, she exceeds all expectations. There is no species more suited to poking their nose in other people's business than the fox demons. I'm not a kitsune. Would you please let me finish? What you have to say is relevant. You don't share the same intimate bond that we do. Our deep ancestral roots are tied deep within our souls and connect us on a level that a scroungy vagabond like yourself could never understand. Wow. All that remains now is to let our connection manifest physically. Gaki, I hope we're not on the ground floor so that if I throw you out the window, I have time to leave your ass. Master Gaki, I believe that your delusions have gone far enough. Delusions? What the hell is he talking about? He's trying to say that I don't... Gaki doesn't let Chris finish before he's back on Salios' case. Do not spoil my passions with your words, or else I'll soil the floor with your guts. Not again, we're at the dinner table. If you're gonna fight in the main entrance. It's a lot easier to clean things off a crystal floor than a wood floor. Your threats do not scare me, Master Gaki, second son of the Gakilian family. How gut you. Okay, Gaki, please, not at the dining table. And, eat the food. God. The fox boy leans over the table to strangle the vampire when suddenly Governess Anzu rises from her seat. The two men stop mid-squabble. I'm bored of this. I will be resting in my room. Do not disturb me. No. The only one who can keep these people in check. Please don't leave. The governess walks away from all four of them. They stare on at the melancholy woman as she drags her feet and leaves the room. This is all your fault. Callie stands, ready to run after the governess, but is held back by Salios. Please, Callie, do not do anything that may go against Governess Anzu's wishes. The girl tears her hand out of the pale man's grasp and glares down at him. You are no better than that pervert was, fawning over that fox girl as if our governess wasn't sitting right there. Fawning? I certainly was not. It's true, he wasn't fawning, but, he was fawning other times. So Anzu wasn't the center of your attention? Big whoop. You shouldn't even be here in the first place. Leave immediately. And you, hurry up and finish your task. Your presence here has done nothing but upset our delicate balance of life. Fine, the sooner I'm out of this nut house, the better. Chris stands, although both of the men start to protest and attempt to soothe things over. She leaves the room as quickly as she can, not wanting anything more to do with any of them. rightfully so. The frustration spurs the auditor on. Quickly enough, night comes. She looks down at her report and starts to feel a moment of relief. Soon, all this will be over. However, for some reason, the thought is leaving a bitter taste in the girl's mouth. There's still something missing here. For the good of everything, what more is there that she can do besides hope that what she has is enough? After getting a little more work done, the girl returns to her bedroom. Today turned out better than I expected. As much as that is true, there is something about the day that doesn't make it feel like everything is such a rousing bundle of success. She can't remember the last time she felt so lost, if ever. It isn't even a homesickness. She could have fought that off easily, knowing how impressed Lucy is going to be by her work. Her work cures any sickness. That is a much older feeling. When she's pushed down by, like, bile, is starting to reemerge against her will and turn her stomach. Sorry, I don't know why that was so difficult for me to read. It's probably just from something I ate. Chris decides to call it a night and snuggles up into bed as much as she wants to believe it's just a case of food poisoning, which shows just how much she wants to repress the real issue, because food poisoning, as many know, isn't fun. The last words that come to her mind before trailing off to sleep curse her to face the facts. The feeling is more than just bad seafood. Did I even have any seafood? My Kumiho. I'm gonna be a Kumiho, Mama. Oh, oops. I thought she was still sleep-talking. What's so special about Kumihos, sweetheart? Everyone treats them better. But that's just a sign of respect, though, Chris. And everyone treats me like an idiot. Then they're all real idiots. You're the most cunning fox I know. I know. That's why I want to be a Kumiho. You'll need 9 tails if you're going to be a Kumiho, kiddo. But I only have 2. Well, Mama has 3, and I have 4, so... Papa lifted the little girl onto his shoulders. She kicked and fussed and clammed her eyes shut. That wasn't what she meant by wanting to be a Kumiho, but she didn't want to fly. Papa, stop squishing me. Yeah, put me down, it's too high. Chris's papa sat her onto his shoulders and pulled Mama close to his side. Look, Chris. The girl slowly opened her eyes, and as she stared down at their reflection in the water, her eyes became wide and with joy. 9 tails wagged behind them. The young girl's whole heart leapt. We're a Kumiho, Papa! We're a Kumiho! As long as we're together, we are. And we always will be. Ah, so loud. Those are both. What sort of demons? What does she actually do for governess? Those are both real good questions. 380, secretary. Okay. Shit, hold on. Ooh! Oh my god, what was that? That's rude. Sorry, I didn't think it would skip everything. Oh my gosh. Procrastination is a beautiful thing. It urges people to do more useful but irrelevant things at ill-chosen times. Chris is currently experiencing this supercharged but misguided sense of productivity and this supercharged but misguided sense of productivity and has spent all morning rearranging the files back into their proper order. But, like every other superpower, her charge of usefulness is waning. When it's all gone, it will surely leave the girl in a dark place of melancholy and self-doubt. I can't believe I'll be leaving soon. Though relieved, Chris hadn't expected it to be so bittersweet. Thoughts of why she feels this way fester in her head. Her pigtails whip around, gradually becoming faster and stronger as she tries to literally shake off the thought. It's no use. They just won't go away. Disappointed by this revelation, the fox decides to talk all her worries away, which is yet another reason why espionage may not be the best career for her. Your loyalty lies with Lord Lucifer. You can't ever forget that. She smacks her cheeks hard 3 times, and like a magic spell, all her worries disappear. Oh, I just have to smack the bad thoughts away. But they come back with pitchforks and sulfur. Ugh. Why do I feel so awful? The committee host slumps forward. Her head hits the desk quite hard. Actually, as her last defense against everything, she is trying so hard not to think about it. Alas, the plan fails as easily as all of her other harebrained schemes. And why can't I stop thinking about... I wonder if Celios has liked having me around too. The fox never thought that she'd enjoy having someone consistently lurk around her like a shadow. She still doesn't, really, but perhaps when Celios does, she doesn't mind it quite as much. The girl looks back down at her files he's loaned her, and though she's tried her hardest, she's pretty sure that he won't be pleased with how she's organized them. She laughs while trying to imagine his expression when she finally gives them all back to him. It's a coin toss between sort of impressed that I actually tried to do it, and mildly horrified that I obviously still can't tell the difference between Flamingo and Ballet Slipper Pink. How can you not tell? Flamingo is obviously a much, more, how do I explain it? Ballet Slipper Pink is a lot softer. However, she's certain that either way, he won't make her feel too bad about messing up his very clear order. He's always been so kind to me. Someone like Celios doesn't belong in this place. Chris wonders how happy he is working here under Anzu's and all of her rules that can change on but a whim. Oh, Chris wonders how happy he is working here under Anzu's and all of her rules that can change on but a whim. Celios must be exhausted from working for her after all these years. He deserves better. And he surely does, but not in the way the girl is thinking. She knows he'd be better off working for the main hell government, where he could really do a lot of great work. So she vows to, the moment she returns home, put in a recommendation order for the vampire with the head of the archives. Although the thought is born of purely unselfish reasons, the more the auditor thinks about it, the more selfish her reasons become. Having Celios closer to her means that she won't have to say goodbye after all. I'll get to see him again, and we can stay together a little longer. Chris is unashamed at the thought, and even worse, is excited by it. Looking at the files once more, Chris tries to think of a way to stay at the palace a little longer. Even just a day or two more was advice. In her mind, she weaves some tale about losing a file, and another about sleep eating her report, and I have nothing. As much as she wants to save for longer, she wants to do a good job even more. She could never take advantage of the trust bestowed upon her by the main hall government and betray them. No matter how much she wants to, deep down. With that resolved fresh in her mind, Chris gets back to work, committing herself to it and hoping to keep her melancholy at bay. This is the wrong district to have those kinds of thoughts in, after all. That's that, then. She arranges all of her papers into one neat pile and looks triumphantly at the finished work. It's all there and ready to hand in. Almost, anyway. Still on the fence about leaving, the auditor decides that now is a good time to take a break. But she needs more than just fresh air to stretch her legs. She needs that one bit of proof that her melancholy isn't simply the product of romanticized delusions. What? No. I'm just trying to take a break like a normal person. Chris is certain that a break will heal her body of all that ails it, including a sorrow-filled heart. Seeing another face will surely help her rest her worries. Anyone except Anzu, of course. Lest the governess smell the deceit on her and grow suspicious. I didn't want to have this choice. But I do want to see Gaki. What Chris needs most is to get out and just forget everything, so she decides to go out into town and get some well-needed alone time. But a certain fox can't simply allow a maiden to go unescorted. From the far breadths of his bedroom window, Gaki suddenly catches the alluring scent of the one he's longed to see and thought endlessly about for a whole 3 minutes. So here Chris is, strolling along and minding her own business, when out of nowhere her arm is seized and taken hostage by someone she has been trying very hard not to think about. My love, how unexpected to find you here, wandering around all alone, without an arm to guide you through the perils of existence. Jesus, Gaki, why are you so poetic like this? It's difficult for me to read. Well, Gaki, if you know anyone who could help me, please tell me. I'm experiencing one of those so-called perils right now. Hold on. Damn water, man. You would think water would save my life, but I feel like it's trying to kill me. Certainly, but until they arrive, let us suffer together and comfort one another. I think we're thinking of 2 different comforts, and I like mine better. Gaki pulls the girl closer, deciding that this sudden change in situation calls for something more comfortable than just threading arms, and holds her by the waist, dragging her closer to him. Okay, bro. We barely know each other. Chris digs her nails into his hand, and the two stare at one another, her sharp claws still digging deeper and deeper. The boy finally pulls away, hiding his injured hand behind his back, and masking his pain with the most gallant smile he can muster. But perhaps we should keep our distance slightly. Wouldn't want to excite you too much, now would I? I so envy your ability to hear only what you want to. I don't only hear what I want to. I read the subtext of your protest, the language of your body, and the promiscuous, the promiscuity of your mind that has been brutally repressed by our overly polite society. Well, at least it has no effect on you. Exactly. I am one who is blessed to always be above social constructs. One who has gone above and beyond to express my own will and devoted my life to liberating those around me. Especially if it suits your own purpose. My sweet, you make me sound like a tyrant, and yet the only thing I wish to dominate are your mind, body, and soul. Is that really too much to ask? Maybe? I don't really get what you're asking for. Yeah, I don't either. Your eternal love and adoration. Adoration, of course. I don't know why I said that really weird. Really? You have a funny way of showing it, then. Huh? I thought I'd made my intentions clear from the start. I only ever wished to exalt you to the highest position so that I can know what it's like to be beneath you. Find beauty in all your desires as they wrap around mine. Please, Gaki, stop talking. Why are you still talking? I want to become a part of you in a way that will never again allow you to escape me. Chris, there's nothing I've wanted more than to be the one person who craves and is craved by you. If I could, I'd crush your bones and snort them like cocaine. What the fuck? Gaki, that sounds really painful for the both of us. I'd bleed you dry and inject your blood into my own veins. Why are you still talking? I'd grind your skin and smoke it until I see only you, becoming your love-struck addict who only wants to indulge in more of your sweet intoxication. I think he just wrote a novel. I do too. It sure sounded like one. And there you go again. Chris hangs her head low. She really can't figure out what is wrong with herself. Gaki has never given her any reason to believe he is better than this, but she did anyway. Now she's just so disappointed by the Foxboy. How can I help myself? You inspire the poet in me. Wow, you're a poet? That's, so surprising. You know, when you say things like that, you sound irresistible. Like a serial killer with a tendency to stalk his victims and steal their dirty underwear. I agree. You mean that you didn't like that? No one has ever told me that before. I didn't even say that. Which is a lie. Not to discredit everything Gaki says from here on out, because he isn't much of a liar, but you've surely noticed Gaki is has very selective senses. He is often the tragic victim in his own already skewed worldview of privilege and beauty, and he hears only what he wishes to. It's too easy and not nearly entertaining enough to simply blame his parents for that flaw. Also, since they were hardly around when the boy was in his formidable years, we shall blame the maids instead. Curse you, maids! It is now Gaki's greatest chance to change, and the truth is hitting him harder than Chris ever anticipated. His tail's lower and his ears flatten against his head. Perhaps he'd think to go home if it wasn't for the sudden arm looping into his, and the fact that Chris's semi-decent bosom is pressing against him. You're not a bad guy, Gaki. Not completely, anyway, I think. You just make horrible decisions a lot, say the worst things at the worst possible times, and have no regard for others. That's all. And that doesn't make Gaki a bad guy, just an inconsiderate one. So you don't hate me? I would have run away if I did. What I'm trying to say is that Gaki drags Chris into a hug, and for a moment, shock and something else cause Chris to freeze in that position. A hug? Damn. Did what I say really mean that much? Does everyone hate you? Gaki. Chris? But what can she say to him when she really isn't sure if she wants him to stop or not? Gaki rests a hand on her head, stroking her hair in a way that he knows he shouldn't, and is all too pleased when the girls' tails begin to wag happily. For once, his impulsiveness pays off. Chris wraps her arms around him and buries her face happily into his chest, wanting to be petted that way, the way she used to be, just like when her parents used to be around. Just 3 more tails, and we could be a real Gamiho. I am a real Gami. She starts to complain, lifting her head up to stare at him, but her face is incredibly flushed, and she can't even manage to squint her eyes angrily. Gaki looks back at her, though she can still see the mischievous shimmering in his eyes. She isn't as pissed at him for not taking her true race serious this time. Whatever, I think you're fine like you are now anyway. The kitsune pulls away and grabs the girl's hands, guiding her through town. They talk, though Chris definitely couldn't tell you what about if you asked. They jump around to so many different topics, and Gaki keeps making stupid jokes at her, his own and everything around them's expense. Eventually the girl gets hungry, and they turn back to head towards the palace. The boy follows her along to the courtyard, and just as they get to the gate, he lets go of her hand and walks a few paces faster than her. Chris knows she shouldn't, but for a moment she feels like grabbing his hand again. She feels like their walk. She likes their walk, and she doesn't want it to end yet. More than that, though, the thought that all the boy's flirting, teasing, and gestures are as empty as his words hurts. Okay, why do you feel so shocked by this anyway? The Gamiho shakes her head, trying not to feel disappointed any longer. She starts to trail further and further behind Gaki, just watching the fox boy's broad back. Is it even possible that I actually... Hurry up, slowpoke. Or are you checking out my ass from the back there? From back there. If so, carry on. Gaki walks slower, striding down the path with his hips swaying back and forth like a pendulum. Don't do that, you idiot. If you can't handle what's behind, then what's in front will blow your mind. Chris runs to catch up with him, knocking her shoulder into him and throwing him off balance. Good. No fair. He complains while running after her and trying to grab her by the hips, but Chris jumps up high and out of reach before crashing down onto his back, riding him, just not in the way he'd like. The boy piggybacks her all the way to the door of the palace. At the arrival, the door opens. Celios is waiting expectantly for the both of them. He doesn't look overly pleased either. I suppose this explains why you're late for supper, Miss Gamiho. Sorry, Gaki was showing me around town. She jumps off Gaki's back and tries to walk ahead to Celios, but is suddenly held back by the kitsune. He wraps a hand around her waist and laughs at her foolishness. You don't have to explain yourself to him, my sweet. You have learned nothing from your time here. Celios isn't important enough to worry about that. Baki, will you please stop acting like a child? A child? Perhaps not a child, but another word that begins with C would surely be fitting. Celios, you are no better. Oh yeah? And what word would that be? The fox growls, baring his fangs at the vampire. Celios looks away. Celios simply looks away, unaffected by the boy's threat. Allow me to remind you that we do have a supper to get to. Just leave it. Let's go get some grub. As you wish. Besides, a gentleman should never raise his fists in front of a lady. Well, you almost did. Literally, like, last time we ate. The pale man rolls his eyes and proceeds to lead the two foxes towards the dining room. Over the last 3 nights, Chris has eaten more food than she would usually consume in a month. As much as she wants to carry on feasting on the... what? Is it decadent spread, knowing that such luxuries are out of reach on her own salary, she just can't find her appetite. Which doesn't go unnoticed by Celios, who's sitting beside her. Oh, you got your seat back. Congratulations. Perhaps something lighter would suit you better? Today's salad is a kumquat vinaigrette. It's very good. Would you agree, Kelly? It's not as good as yesterday's. You're not helping. What a stupid suggestion. I suppose you have a better one then, Master Gaki. Even an idiot could see that Chris's troubles couldn't be solved by a change in diet. The heart knows what the heart wants, and my heart knows that her heart wants... Shut up. She's not eating. She does seem to be in the case. That does seem to be the case. Why are you guys talking about me like I'm not here? Because I can assure you, I'm here. Perhaps she's dying. Callie. Perhaps she will eat if I feed her from my own mouth. You know, the way a mother bird feeds her chicks, offering all that I have so that she may live on. I'm not dying. And I'm sitting right here. There's nothing I won't give you, dearest Chris. All you have to do is ask. Be it the food from my mouth, the shirt off my back, or the seed from my loins. Please stop. One should not speak when they have nothing of value to say. For once, I agree. Perhaps our guest needs to... I'm fine. Chris says curtly, cutting them all off. She looks down at her plate as much as she wants to eat and put all their minds at ease. She simply can't find the strength to do it. The moment she finishes this plate will be the moment she is finished here. Although it's a tad hyperbolic, it's hard to think rationally when your heart weighs more than your mind. Are you mayhap anxious about the fact you'll be leaving us soon? Shut up, Anzu. Chris feels embarrassed to admit it, especially to Anzu. She really shouldn't feel this sad about leaving, but she just is. There's about a day's worth of files to go over, and then I'll be returning to the main Hell government to hand in my report. I promise not to linger longer than I must. Why is that? Please don't feel like you have to leave so promptly. I'm sure we'll all be sad to see you go, and it would be nice if we could give you a proper farewell. Don't you agree, Governess? Of course I don't. You can't actually mean that. Why not? The only thing that's disappointing me here is that her departure isn't sooner. Anzu's gleaming eyes slide over Callie, waiting for the girl to chip in like she usually does. It doesn't come, however, so Anzu goads the girl for a better reaction. And Callie feels the same way, I'm sure. What the silver-haired girl doesn't realize is that her pathetic expression is visible for all to see. The way she's looking at Chris causes the governess's teasing grin to strain under the weight of her repressed irritation. Or am I perhaps mistaken, pet? The silver-haired girl lowers her head and tries to hide from Anzu's stare, but the woman's expression doesn't change. Don't try to hide it any longer. You've already been caught. You should at least have the decency to stand by your lack of indifference. But the girl doesn't try to deny it, instead choosing to remain silent. Aren't you going to try to at least defend your infidelity, Callie? I've nothing to say, my governess. Really? Nothing? Nothing at all? Why aren't you just the coldest little pet? I didn't mean to come off as such, my lady. I'll miss you too, Callie. Callie's head raises from her plate. The girl wants to smile and cry and say it back to Chris, but the words are stuck in her throat and held back by the pitiful look of understanding that Gumiho is giving her. The girl's face reddens under all her pent-up emotions, and with the slightest of nods, she hides her face and falls mute, smiling to herself. This needn't be farewell, Chris. Okay, Gaki. Chris turns to Gaki, somehow shocked by his ill-timed and ostentatious declaration. We can still be together. Just say the word and you may live with me. I can't do that. I have work to do. We shall be together and begin our family. You, the future mother of my first of many litters, you can live in the lap of luxury and want for nothing except me. Gaki, please, No, not another word. I'll be all too happy to oblige. I never agreed. I can just imagine it now. We shall do nothing more with our days than express our love for each other. We will starve to death, forgetting all of our hungers, as we only feed our lust. Gaki, God, no, why are you still talking? Our children will be forgotten, existing only as medals of our devotion, and those that'll carry on our great love story. I have to leave, though. Chris tries to gently turn down Gaki. Though they have spoken about this before, Gaki seems to not have taken her words to heart. To his defense, the boy began writing his speech on the day they first met. Not even the object of affection can prevent him from finishing the entirety of it. It's only fair, right? No, I understand that. Although they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. I don't think I could ever imagine to grow more fond of you than I already am. My heart simply bursts and chokes my balls blue from all the pent-up passion. Please, will you release me from this chokehold? Oh, mistress of my heart, I remain here forever with me. And remain here forever with me. No. Gaki clutches Chris's hand, looking sorrowfully into her eyes, embarrassing as it is, and as much as she must be going mad to even consider it, the thought of saying yes to Gaki does, for the briefest of moments, cross the girl's mind. You don't agree? Chris shakes her head slowly, saddened by the look on Gaki's face, as he notices the skewed expressions of everyone else at the table. I was doing it again, wasn't I? The fox boy sighs. For the first time ever, he ignores the subtext in the girl's rejection and only sees it as it truly was, a rejection. Of course she doesn't. Chris suddenly remembers the others at the table and looks around at the green faces of Salios, Anzu, and Callie. Anzu is still here? What the hell, Gaki?